by raging torrents on Monday. Mongezi Koko reports.
Yesterday, divers were recovering bodies from the Gqeberha River almost hourly. As the hours passed, attention turned to structures along the banks, homes ripped apart by the force of the water where more bodies were found beneath the debris. Today, while efforts continue in the water, crews will begin systematic searches through destroyed homes, a shift that could bring more grim discoveries. Premier Oscar Mabuyane says the situation is fluid and challenging to track in real time.
As we're sitting here, other bodies are being discovered. It's a bit a difficult one to be exact on the kind of a situation. It's a bit a fluid, sort of chasing a moving target.
Meanwhile, hundreds of families left homeless, many of whom have lost everything, are sheltering in community halls, schools and municipal buildings. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Mthatha.
The family of an 11-year-old girl from Boksburg who was raped allegedly by a 29-year-old family friend will find out this morning whether he will be released on bail. The Boksburg Magistrates Court is expected to hand down its decision today. The incident allegedly took place while the girl was visiting the man and his wife, both family friends, during the December holidays. Her family says they only became aware of what had happened to the child after discovering that she was pregnant. Khomoso Modisa reports.
My child's life is on pause because of what he did. Why can't his life also be paused in jail when we are waiting for DNA?
These are the words of the 11-year-old girl's mother, who told Eyewitness News that the child was forced to leave school after she was raped and impregnated, allegedly by the 29-year-old family friend. The lawyer representing the accused man has sought to discredit the child's version of events, telling the court that she could have made the allegations for ulterior purposes. They highlighted that the child withheld the information when her mother initially approached her, but the investigating officer in the case attributed this to fear and shame. In the absence of DNA evidence, the court will have to consider all other facts before it as it arrives to a decision on bail. Khomoso Modise, Eyewitness News.
EFF leader Julius Malema says the party's legal fight against the fuel levy increase is not over. The Western Cape High Court dismissed Part A of the party's urgent application to suspend the levy increase from coming into effect last week, pending its main application to have the Finance Minister's decision set aside. The EFF maintains that Enoch Godongwana overreached when he announced the levy increase last month, saying he failed to go through Parliament first. On Wednesday last week, the fuel levy increased by 15 cents and 16 cents per litre for petrol and diesel, respectively. Babalondenza reports.
The EFF was one of a few parties that voted against the fiscal framework, calling the fuel levy increase a direct attack on the poor. But party leader Julius Malema says they will continue their fight against the fuel levy when Part B of their application is heard in the Western Cape High Court.
Remember, we lost the agency, and now we're going into the merits, the Part B of our case. We're still convinced the law was not followed to the latter, and as a result, we're going to emerge victorious in that court.
He says they are willing to go to the highest court in the land should they not succeed in the High Court.
And if we don't emerge in the Western Cape because of the attitude of the bench in the Western Cape, we'll appeal this matter until the Constitutional Court.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana said he's aware of the EFF's Part B application, but is yet to go through the merits of their case. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News, Cape Town.
And Harvey Weinstein has been found guilty of sexual assault in New York after his sex crimes conviction in the state was overturned last year. A panel of 7 female and 5 male jurors deliberated for 5 days in the 6-week trial before unanimously voting to convict the disgraced film mogul on one of 3 counts. The jury found him not guilty of an additional sexual assault charge and has yet to return a verdict on a charge of rape. The conviction is in addition to a 16-year sentence that Weinstein has yet to serve after being convicted of sex crimes in Los Angeles. The trial was based on the testimony of 3 women who accused Weinstein of using his power in the entertainment industry to sexually abuse them. Gold is trading at $3,371.85 an ounce. The rand is at 17.69 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.48 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays along the N12 as well as the R24 West between the Edenville Road exit and the Kilulis interchange. There's also slow-moving traffic along the R59 North approaching the Tulisa Park area. This is due to roadworks taking place out of the Reading interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EW and the Sawa. The Eastern Cape government says today's search and rescue operations following 2 days of deadly flooding will prioritize recovering people trapped under rubble from collapsed homes and structures.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But the 702 Walk the Talk is for something far greater. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Good morning, bonjour, absheni. Happy Thursday. I hope you're good this morning. Thank you for joining us once again here on 702. If it's your first time with us, well, welcome to the family. Our show starts with the 702 open line this hour. So you can call on 011-883-0702. If you want to weigh in on any issue or what we're discussing on the open line this morning, the WhatsApp line is 0727021702. Hello, if you are watching us on YouTube as well, you can go to the 702 YouTube page if you want to watch and listen to the show at the same time. Elon Musk and President Donald Trump have smoked the peace pipe. How are you feeling about that? And I'll tell you why I ask you that. Because ordinarily, you would want everybody to be happy with that, right? Because this is the world's richest man, and this is the world's most powerful man in President Donald Trump. We don't want them to be fighting because it's going to get ugly, and at some point, especially us, the global south, us as developing countries, we may catch some strays. So it's a different thing when the most powerful leader in the world and the richest men are fighting, because the consequences will be felt on the ground. That fight or feud is not going to affect them. And I have seen that there are some people who have expressed disappointment at the fact that they've kissed and made up. And I'm also going to be honest with you. I was like, no, not so quick. Because I thought there's still more that's still going to come. I mean, he was making, Elon Musk, that is, all sorts of allegations against President Donald Trump. He's in the Epstein files. He supported calls for his impeachment. He was criticizing that bill that Donald Trump wants to see through Congress. Donald Trump has also made all sorts of allegations against him. And I'm honest with you, really, I was a bit disappointed to see that so quick they've kissed and made up. I was hoping that there's more that's going to come out that's somehow going to help us understand what the vision and what the intention of this administration is. I would like to hear your thoughts on 011-883-0702. There were a lot of people who even thanked Nelson Mandela. They said, when the feud was going on, and said, Don come after South Africa because our ancestors don't play, hey? So how do you feel about that? Elon Musk has expressed regret. You may have seen that over the last couple of days about the posts that he made against Trump. He said they went too far. And the CNN was actually reporting yesterday that they were on a phone call together. So before Elon Musk even tweeted that, he actually called Donald Trump and they sorted things out. What do you think is at play here? And I see some people are like, yeah, we told you guys that this is just a show. It's not really true. I don't think this was just a show because there's a lot at play. I mean, Elon Musk lost millions of dollars just in the couple of hours or on the day that he had this feud with Donald Trump. So it's a different thing when you are the richest man in the world and you're fighting with the president of the US. You are going to lose money. Tesla shares tanked so bad. So I don't think this was just fake. Let me know your thoughts on that. Another thing I'm interested in your thoughts on this morning is the issue of accountability in Parliament. Bongani was playing some clips this morning of members of Parliament who are asking some tough questions to some members of the executives or other stakeholders that are accountable to Parliament. And I must say, I just feel like something has shifted since the GNU. Members of the executives or other stakeholders accountable to Parliament are truly being held accountable. And yes, sometimes for some MPs and parties in Parliament, they're just grandstanding. Some are competing very hard because they want to trend, but it works for us, right? They must compete there. That's why even with the ministers in the GNU, when they are competing for efficiency and for doing well, it's good because it works for us. And I think we have had this kind of fierce, tough questioning before in the last administration. I mean, people like Glenys Breitenberg, as I said this earlier, they've always made sure to hold the executive accountable. Floyd Shivambu from the EFF at the time, they were really asking tough questions. Yeah, but something has really shifted, and I don't know if you're seeing it the same way. I'll play you some more of those clips so you get a sense of what I'm talking about. At 10 o'clock, though, we are going to do the Hanging Out feature. And today I'm hanging out with a multi-award-winning artist. She's a fashion icon. She's a powerhouse. She's an artist with so much depth. And this year, she celebrates 20 years in the music industry. Her name is Simphiwe Dana. We're going to be celebrating her today between 10 and 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Thursday dialogue. And today we're focusing on this disaster in the Eastern Cape. These devastating floods that have claimed 49 lives. The Premier of the Eastern Cape has described this as one of the most painful tragedies to hit the province in recent years. We've seen these disruptive rains, strong winds and snowfall over the province. Emergency response teams have been dispatched to various areas and are working around the clock to provide some critical support to communities that have been affected. 49 people, that's the number. But that could increase the number of people that have died from these floods. That could increase because there are some people that are still missing. But I also want us to have a conversation about the circumstances that allow for such floods to be so devastating. What's the state of infrastructure in the Eastern Cape? And how do we mitigate against future natural disasters? And maybe you're from the Eastern Cape yourself. I mean, the bridges, you look at the bridges, even in low-lying areas in the villages, you look at the state of roads. These floods are becoming more and more devastating, and the sooner we get our infrastructure in place, the better, because we may experience more extreme weather events to come, and the rebuilding of infrastructure needs to be resilient to such climate risks. So future constructions, for instance, must have extreme weather events in mind. You know, when approvals are being made for new developments, we shouldn't just approve those based on what could be the worst floods in 100 years, but probably in 50 years or less. So how can the planning systems be strengthened? That's part of the chat I want us to have on our Thursday dialogue at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Hello, Clement and 702 lenders. On the matter of Trump and Elon, This is a one-sided matter. Elon Musk apologized and said he went too far last week. As far as I know, Trump is not interested in mending their relationship, just as the media yesterday asked Elon's father that is it possible that Trump and Elon's relationship could get back to normal, and his father replied by saying, yes, it's possible. If they had mended things up already, I don't think they would have asked him that question. So it's really one-sided. And besides, the verdict is out there. Elon already hit Trump with a slap. So we already felt the slap. Can't take that back. Sure.
Clemmy, good morning man. Yes, sas. Môre, as Floris is so van die Weskaap. Clemmy, it's ironic that you would say that these two powerful people smoked the peace pipe. So who was passing the dodgy to the left-hand side? And why I'm saying it's so ironic, there was claims that that Musk is using drugs by the very Donald Trump. But in any event, I'm not sure if this was just a stage fight just to shake up the markets a bit. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Morning, Clement. There was mismanagement between the head state of America and the billionaire Elon Musk. So I'm glad they sorted things out. I'm glad they did sort it out because it was not good at all.
Yeah. This is so wild, eh? Like, I do think that, I mean, my suspicion is that there was a lot of pressure from investors coming towards Elon Musk because there was a lot at stake. I mean, Trump at some point was talking about canceling all government contracts with some of Elon Musk's companies. And I don't know. I suspect that maybe some investors, some boards of the companies this man controls and owns were probably putting pressure on him to say, sort this ish out, because this is going to affect our bottom line. And if not, then his position was probably going to be at risk. I suspect there was pressure coming from the company. I mean, the Tesla stocks really tanked. The shares they tanked so bad during the feud, and the consequences were going to be more and more severe. So maybe there's pressure coming from Elon Musk. But I mean, when you look at the personality of Musk, the personality of Trump, what are the chances that this is it? I suspect that we may be sitting with another fight to come in the next couple of, I don't know, weeks, months, or even years. Who knows? This is America. It's the wild, wild west, my friends.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
So this issue of accountability in Parliament, yeah? Just take a listen to some of what has transpired in Parliament so far. Obviously, there are many cases that have happened, clips that have gone viral, members of the executives that have been held accountable. But just for you to get a sense of what I'm trying to say this morning. Here's Karabo Khakao, who is a member of Parliament, and she was there at the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education and Training, and there were questions being asked there. This was an interaction between Karabo Khakao and one of the deputy CEOs or representatives of a TVET college. But look, what I want you to focus on here is on the questions being asked and the responses that we're getting.
How much money have you fundraised towards internet connectivity within the labs?
Connectivity. Unless we can put the analysis up so that I can then talk.
What do you mean analysis? Like, you should know. Do you have any partnership that in your job in the last 2 weeks that you have formed with any private sector or any company to ensure that there's connectivity on campus to improve internet access? Yes or no?
No.
You haven't. So have you done any staunch engagements with computers for computer accesses?
Yes.
Okay, how many computers were you able to get in the last 2 years?
Into the institution?
I mean, surely not in your house, Mama.
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
Yeah.
How many?
Sure, yeah, that's Sharon Motoboli Ingwe, who's a TVET College's deputy principal for partners and innovation, right? That's Sharon is the lady that Karabo was asking questions to. But honestly, when I saw this clip, the first thing I thought of was, one, I was like, good, these are tough questions. But a part of me also felt I cringed a bit because I thought, she's really an old woman and you can tell that she's just baffled. And it was so cringeworthy. And I would understand why some people may see that as a bit of disrespect. But, this is Parliament. This is not your lounge with your grandkids who must call you Koko, Ukoko, or grandma, granddad. This is Parliament and people are there to do their work. And yes, I do think that there must be decorum, there must be respect for each other. You can still be firm and still be respectful towards people. But we are seeing a lot of MPs really, really, really ask some really tough questions. This is Sihle Lonzi, who is a member of Parliament for the Economic Freedom Fighters. He's been doing the Lord's work there in Parliament as well.
What makes in your own view, Minister, what makes a person credible? When you say this one, Tebogo Chair, is credible or is not credible, what makes him credible in your own view? Minister?
What makes a person credible, Chair, is exactly how it is defined when you Google. By encyclopedia, you'll see what it means. It's exactly that.
You are not going to answer us. You are not going to answer us, Minister.
I've responded, Chairperson.
So that's the chairperson there of the Portfolio Committee. I'll play you of the clip of Sihle Lonzi as well. But that's just what's been happening. There's not really accountability there. The clip I wanted was of Sihle Lonzi. I'll get it for you guys. But you listen to what the Minister of Higher Education, how she's responding to that. No interest whatsoever. And do you think there's going to be accountability? The President, yes, has come out to say she must explain herself. But that's how low the bar is, even on this concept of accountability. People really, and for the longest time in Parliament, there are members of the executives who used to be given softball questions. They knew that we can come there, say whatever you say, you're not going to be really asked some tough questions. But things have changed now. If you go to Parliament and you're not ready, you don't know your story, you're going to be left embarrassed. And they don't want that. And that is good for accountability. And that is good for you and I. Here's another clip, just as an example of accountability in Parliament.
Suspending the copy of the letter was issued after we've had the resolution. That letter was also given him. It was forwarded to him so that he could sign. So that letter was available.
I'm saying, did you have a signed copy that Donald Slamlela is suspended?
I can't sign it. It must be signed by him.
Who says you must sign the letter? Do you listen to what I'm asking? I'm asking you. Did you have the copy signed by the delegated authority in this regard?
Okay. No,
can you not disrupt when I ask, ma'am? Okay. Can you switch that mic? Can you learn to be respectful, please? I'm asking you. You are sitting in a committee of parliament in a meeting that is viewed by the people of South Africa. You tell the people of South Africa that you, as the deputy chair of the board, acting obviously on behalf of the chair, and your board, you are communicating to us that you have suspended the CIO. When you do not have a proof that that decision has been effected, what is your take on that?
It gets worse.
So that's the clip that was played also on Bongani show this morning, just demonstrating this this tough questioning from members of parliament, and just a lack of responses sometimes, even to the most simplest, basic of questions from these stakeholders or members of the executives that are accountable to parliament. What do you think? Are you happy? Do you think that we have seen an increase in accountability in parliament? And do you sometimes find yourself, being on two sides here, where on the one hand you're happy that MPs are holding these executives accountable, but on the other hand you think sometimes they take it too far and they get too disrespectful? Because I do think that these are politicians. They will grandstand sometimes. They do want to be seen, to be, doing the work, and some of them actually want to embarrass the members of the executives. I do think that sometimes there are some who do that because they're competing for attention. But that works for you and I. And I hope they can still be respectful in their engagement but still be firm. So let me know what your thoughts are on this issue of accountability. Have you seen a shift? What do you think lies behind that? We've got to keep it going, because for the last 30 years, many of the members of the executives were protected, even in parliament, an institution that is mandated constitutionally to hold them accountable. It's 27 after 9.
Remember when we were rocking just one bike, dreaming big for our delivery business? Those days. Now we're here with a whole fleet of vans and trucks. That's why it's important to have the right partner in your corner. Of course. We owe to My Way Business Insurance. They've been our go-to for comprehensive cover, protecting our fleet while we deliver excellence. Talk about going from pedal power to horsepower.
Move your business to My Way and get cover for your vans and trucks. Visit myway.co.za for a quote and do business your way. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Betway's exclusive new games are taking the world by storm. Featuring massive megaways jackpots. Take your shot on cash and riches. Wolf Plays, Gallo Gold Brunos, and many more incredible experiences for you to choose from. You're guaranteed to find a new ultra fun favorite. Get way more only at Betway. Betway's licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP counseling line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
Tabo is trying hard to remember a song he heard at the gym. Shame. Thanks to the new Samsung A56, he can give his brain a break. Simply press and hold the home button, tap on the music key symbol, hum or sing the melody, and boom! The Circle to Search AI feature instantly finds the song for you. Now Tabo can have an awesome gym session jamming to the best hits. Galaxy A56. Awesome intelligence is here.
Every small business owner knows that you gotta dream big to achieve even bigger, and Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands that it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent, expand, and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dreams. So if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. 9:30, time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Residents affected by recent floods in the Eastern Cape say they are concerned about how they will rebuild their damaged homes and continue with their lives. Search and rescue operations have resumed, with crews expected to continue coming through areas like Dikolini and Joe Slovo, west of Mthatha. 49 people have died in the floods, with the number expected to increase. The DA says it's proven the naysayers wrong for the Government of National Unity, or that the Government of National Unity would not survive the crucial budget test. A fiscal framework which underpins the 2025 national budget was finally passed by both houses of parliament during separate sittings yesterday. While Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has described the 4-month-long process as a painful journey, the DA is celebrating having forced his hand to retract a value-added tax increase. And there's uneasy calm in Los Angeles after the first night of a curfew was lifted as cities across the U.S. brace for more protests. Nearly 400 people have so far been arrested in L.A., including 330 undocumented migrants and 157 people arrested for assault and obstruction, including one for the attempted murder of a police officer. Prosecutors have so far charged 2 men for throwing Molotov cocktails at police officers in 2 separate incidents. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at the moment, if you are leaving Alberton heading towards Vereeniging, expect some delays on the R59 southbound. That's between the Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. And then traveling from Boksburg heading towards Bedfordview, also traffic a bit sluggish on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis Interchange. In the Randburg area, there's slow-moving traffic on Bayers Nodia. It looks like there's an accident scene just right there next to the highway, the N1. This is causing heavy delays, leaving the Sharon Lee area all the way from Eysterhout. There's also slow-moving traffic. That's if you're traveling into the Sandton area on Winnie Mandela Drive. That's approaching Sandton Drive. Also expect some delays approaching the intersection of Cedar and Uranium. That's in the Fourways area due to faulty traffic lights. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9:32. Let's go back to your calls and WhatsApps.
Good morning, Clement and the team. I am loving watching these people get grilled in Parliament. It is nice to watch them take accountability. This thing of maybe they're grilling them too hard, it's needed because behind our backs, this is what these people are not doing. They are not doing what they need to be doing. They're not serving South Africans. They are being lazy and it's not cool. So we love it. I just wish we could see the implementation coming across other than just watching them being ridiculed and humiliated, and of which they shouldn't think that it's humiliation. They deserve what's coming for them. But implementation is what I'd like for us to see. I mean, look what happened to the Minister of Education. Social media grilled and look, she's out. So we love it.
Good morning, Clement. It's Pat here from Spavia. This is very, very interesting. When we see people being grilled, there's no more buddy here like when the ANC was in charge. You know, people have to be held accountable. So I would like to agree with DA's earlier statement when they say GNU is at work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Les, you calling from Midrand. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. I just want to say that, as children, we were taught to respect. And that teaching is through word and through action. As adults, you don't just say, my child, respect people. And you think that a child is going to wake up tomorrow and respect you. You need to teach this child to respect you. That mama who went to Parliament, she needs to respect herself first. Respecting herself by making sure that I'm going to appear before the Parliament of South Africa, the youth of South Africa that do not have basic things such as internet. Let me do my work and then go there and account to them to say, this is what I've done. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what Karabo has done. She's been asking questions that she as a youth have bothered her, and they continue to bother those that are coming behind her. So there was no disrespect, it was accountability. And sometimes we can be hypocrites, especially as black people. I started working just immediately after apartheid with a degree, postgrad, and going to industry. When I got there, I found this white old men that some of them have been there for like 30 years with just not even matric, technical. And when I would tell them that, but this is not how you could gain efficiency. in doing this. They'll tell me, don't tell me, I'm not going to be told by a child to do this. I've been doing this for 30 years. And then we say that, oh, they don't want to change. They're racist, whatever. Our mothers, our mom was there in Parliament being held accountable. We're saying that she's been disrespectful. She's disrespecting the youth that are in the conundrum of not having access to basic things.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's in Midran, thank you for your call. That's why I said earlier, they come now. If you go to Parliament and you're not prepared, you are going to be embarrassed. And I think that works for us. That works for accountability. And especially these young people, they are not scared at all. Just because you are 40 years older than them doesn't mean they're not going to be asking you the tough questions. I've also been asking you about Elon Musk and President Donald Trump this hour. Are you disappointed that the feud is over? Someone on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, this feud between the two of them, I even did like a Twitter push notifications for both Musk and Trump. I didn't want to miss the blow by blow. Now I'm really bored. That's Kenneth in Soweto.
Hi, Clement. At first, I actually thought that was a show, but when I got to find out Elon was losing a lot of money, I realized, no, this is not kids' play. But I actually believe there is a lot at play. There is a lot that is happening, which may come. There is a lot at play that may come that we are not aware of. I just hope everything plays well. And for Elon, he really did a bad job. When money gets into your head, you're thinking of fighting the set. You can't. That is something that you can never do. You are not a politician, you're a businessman.
Morning, Clement. There's no way this was just a show. Not a chance. I think what actually happened was that budget, that big, beautiful budget, Elon saw that there was no provision for EV, he got touched. When a millionaire gets touched, when you touch somebody's pockets, when you threaten their bag, then they lose their mind. Again, I feel like the trust deficit, there's now a trust deficit between the two. I don't think it's like when you cut, my mom will always say when you cut a rope and you tie it back, it will never be the same length. So I think right now, the friendship will no longer be as it was. And I'm like you, I wish it had lasted longer for us to see more fouls. Prince, Bedford View.
Good morning, Clement. I think Mr. Musk, as much as he can be the richest person in the world, in this case, he was going against a person who's in a position of power, who can use all the state machinery, if you like, if he had to destroy or want to be seen to be destroying him. So I think President Trump was always in a better position if we speak about muscling each other out or trying to outweigh each other out. So yeah, I also don't think it was an act, but I think that Elon Musk realized that, maybe it will be a very difficult path to go through against the person who is in a position of power. And I mean, we are talking about almost 3 to 4 years that Donald Trump will be in power. So yeah, I think it was bound to happen. It will be for my mascara.
Hollywood Bets is bringing you a bounty of prizes with Spina Zonke prize drops. Gear up to unravel an endless supply of treasures and claim fantastic riches with a chance to win an amazing share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes. All you have to do is bet 2 rand or more on selected pragmatic play games on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays between 12:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Feel the ultimate thrill when you log in for a spin and bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance. We insure your business's
future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses.
Financial security,
With Bright today, contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright, approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line.
Walk the Talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
19 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Your calls on 011-883-0702. How do you navigate the working environment when you are younger and sometimes your subordinates are older than you? Or in cases where you are younger and you disagree with some of your colleagues that may be much older. Because there are people, and I'm raising that because I see, some of the messages coming through around Karabo. There's disagreements around how some of these younger MPs are asking questions to the more older members of the executives. Remember, was it Baleka Mbete, the former Speaker of Parliament? She once admonished, was it Julius Malema, I think, a few years ago, and said, "Angsi intanga yako. I'm not your equal. We're not of the same age. Respect me." And Julius Malema said, "Well, I'm not here to be respecting anyone. I'm here to actually do my job. You are not coming here as my auntie or as my gogo or as my elder. You're coming here as my colleague." And I wonder how you navigate that in your space of work. Do you have people who report to you, for instance, that you must now discipline, and they are older than you? Like, what do you do? Like, do you go and say, "Hey, Papa, Mama, or Uncle Clement, we have to talk. You haven't done this. Therefore, this is how we're going to hold you accountable." It really gets tricky, especially if you're raised to respect your elders. And it's something that you've held close to you for a very long time. So let me know how you navigate that, because that's what the younger MPs, and we're seeing more and more younger MPs these days in Parliament, that's what they sometimes have to navigate. But that they can't let their obsession with wanting to respect somehow compromise on the work they're supposed to do to hold these people accountable. Hey, here's Sihle Lonzi. I promised you one of the clips, and I said, yeah, he's one of the members of Parliament who are young, who have really been doing well in holding the executive accountable.
See my hand. I had just one quick follow-up from Karabo, because clearly the minister is refusing to give
it's
us...
Honorable Khachao.
Honorable Khachao, sorry. Yeah. Clearly the minister is refusing to give us the names of the people in the advisory panel. So I've just got one question for the department now that is here. The chair of the NSA, the DG, DDG, the advisor to the minister, the coordinator of SITAs, the PLO, the entire department. Is there anyone in the department who knows the composition of the advisory panel of the minister? None of you know it. All right, no, thank you, Chair.
And there was a time when he was even kicked out of the portfolio committee because he was really asking some tough questions there. Let's go back to your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702.
This is Tsepo here. With regards to the manner in which questions are being asked in Parliament, what I want to say is simple. You can be firm, hold people accountable without being disrespectful. You look at how lawyers ask questions in court, and most of the times, if the presiding officer, that is the magistrate or the judge, feels that, look, you've just crossed the boundaries, they put you back in line in terms of how you ask your questions. You know, people should be asked questions, but in a more respectful manner. Thank you.
Hi, Clement. I agree. Respect is always, number one humility skill that we all need when we do and engage with each other in the workplace. However, my motto in life is that at work there is no age. We are all colleagues, we are all equal, and we should be held accountable like you will hold a 20-year-old versus a 60-year-old. And when you are in a public eye, in charge of the public purse and responsible for departments that can shape the kids' future and the next generation, you have to account. And sometimes tough question is to be asked, and it's not disrespect. It is really asking for accountability. And yeah, my only worry is that we're asking the questions, but what is the final decision? Do these people lose their jobs if they haven't done what they need to? Is there a disciplinary hearing, an action plan afterwards?
Hi, Clement. With regards to this accountability in Parliament, it's actually embarrassing that adults have got to be called out by young people. Honestly, Kanti, these people, what legacy do they want to leave for their kids and their grandkids? Kanti, are they destroying this country and running it down to the ruins? No, man, we shouldn't be doing this. And this is disrespecting abantwana. If we continue doing this, we have to be called out having done the wrong, says what's right to be done.
Good morning, Clement and the listeners. The issue about having older colleagues, colleagues that you more or less share the duties with, it's sometimes a little bit difficult because in an African culture, you can't be calling an elder into order, even though you know that they are supposed to be held liable for whatever actions that they did. But it's sometimes a little bit difficult to work around that issue. Thanks.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And as someone who's also young, I relate with that, especially with the kind of work that I do. Because I'm probably the youngest here. Abel, am I the youngest? Yeah, I'm the youngest host on the station. So I get this a lot with the people that I interview. I don't know how many times I've been called after I've done interviews with politicians. And I mean, there was a time when a certain minister, I interviewed her on my show on the SABC, and it was quite a hectic interview because she didn't want to respond to certain questions, but I was pushing. And I remember I got a call from one of her family members. And this chap was asking me to send a voice note apologizing to this minister for how I disrespected her on the show. And of course, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. But this guy was saying, dude, this thing, we spoke about it in the family. Everybody, like the minister, really just feels like you were disrespectful. I was like, where did I become? Show me. And I will apologize for where I was disrespectful. Show me where I was disrespectful. Me pushing for someone to answer a question they should be answering doesn't mean that I'm disrespectful. I mean, we may disagree there, right? But it doesn't mean I'm disrespectful because I'm saying, no, minister, you have to answer this because you should know this. But because she was left embarrassed, she feels that was my intention to do that. So there are many times when after interviews I've done, especially because I'm young, and I wonder if the older journalists actually get these calls where then we are asked, we must come and apologize, humble ourselves before some ministers. That's not how it works. And I pick it up a lot. Even like my mom sometimes admonishes me. Sometimes my mom calls and says, why did you ask those people those questions? That's disrespectful. I'm like, no, that's my job. It's not disrespect, but because that's how we were raised. That umuntu omdala, awumbuzi, like someone older than you don't question them like that. Well, when you are at work, my friends, there's no old, there's no young, as long as we're still respectful in our engagements, but we have to be firm. You can still be firm, but still respect the next person. How do you manage that in your workplace? It's 10 minutes before 10.
Every time we're on the radio, we're not just talking.
We're turning words into actions. Actions that change communities.
Actions that make a difference.
And every time you tune into 702, you're not just listening to the radio.
You're in conversation with us.
And your voice matters. You're on a journey with us, and every step we take counts.
It's these steps that not only help us grow as individuals,
but also bring us together as a society through the good times and the bad.
Every step gets us closer to the South Africa we want to be.
So, keep walking with 702.
And let's make this a journey to remember.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
This year, the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival invites you to 3 unforgettable days deep in the heart and art of jazz from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 enchanting stages at the Sandton Convention Center, where you'll be mesmerized by world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, Hakan Basa, a trio, Jazria Horn, Elaine, Amanda Black, Michelle Ndejioselo, Louis Nechivale, Gabi Motuba, and over 50 other world-class acts. Take me there. Buy your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3247. My financial advisor asked if I was expecting any inheritance. I said, I don't have a trust fund, but I trust that funds will find their way to my bank account. He was not amused.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
This week on 702, R&B Africa Focus explores energy through an African lens. Join award-winning journalist Crystal Odison as he unpacks the realities of Africa's just transition and how the continent is forging its own path towards an inclusive energy future. It's a conversation about access, equity, and opportunity powered by insights from R&B experts. Don't miss R&B Africa Focus on 702 Drive with John Pellman on Thursday. R&B is a proud sponsor of B20 and a leading African corporate and investment bank.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
7 minutes before 10 o'clock. Neo, you're in 4ways. Hi.
Good morning, Tenisi. I believe that you've got to, as you said already, you need to hold somebody accountable respectfully without demeaning them, you know. And I keep on saying that immediately if we go to the office, start working, we all get paid at the end of the month. So much as like you are younger than me, I'm older than you. I need to respect you for you to respect me. At the same time as well, if you had to, get the work done, you have to, by all means, you know. It can't be necessarily be that like the fact that I'm older than you, it stops you from doing your work. No, that's not the way we're supposed to work. You're supposed to like call the person accountable. You can't tell me in an African culture, you can't call an elderly person and somebody older than you, call that person to order. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, and again as well, for me, if we all like, let's say for instance, we go to varsity. You know, you are in first year, you are in like maybe perhaps like doing your fourth year there. You know, all of a sudden we're becoming colleagues, so to say. We are in the same age group. We're no longer like where we used to be in primary school and high school. So we more or less like experience life almost the same way, so to say, in different ways. So we need to like take into account. You can't say that the fact that like I finished varsity 4 years later after you, meaning that I don't know what I'm doing. No, it can't be. We need to understand that like we all have the same background. We've grown up, you know, this has shaped me differently than you, and I might see things more, you know, like better than you, or even you better than me, then we can advise each other. And hence I keep on saying that at work that you know, as an elderly person at work, I like to talk to the young people that are coming fresh from varsity. I learn a lot from them. They've gone through things that I haven't gone through.
Yeah.
And I become a better person by that. But
True.
I'm going to say to them, no, they're youngsters. I can't.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just being open enough now to learn from each other and knowing that your skills that you have that are so varied can complement each other, and that works for whatever work that you guys do together, right? Let's go to some more WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. I just wanted to say, this is Mam Khitipaking. I am so proud of Sihle Lonzi, Karabo Kakao, and Sinao Tambo. Those are the leaders. Those are the people who were in leadership positions when I was VC at UCT. Damn, they're so good. There are others who are not in parliament, who are in these organizations, both the DA and the EFF, who are really, really good. But all three of them were in leadership position, either when I was appointed or when I was VC, and did they give me a hard time? But I promise you, I mean, the difference is that these are young people who read, who prepare for meetings, they read the documents, they have their hearts in the right place, they want things to change. And I think this is good for South Africa to have young people in parliament who do this, not ones who just want to go in and collect a check. So I'm very proud of Sihle, Karabo, and Sinao. Excellent work. Thank you.
Absolutely, Prof. Thank you. I mean, they make my heart smile. Really, they do. And again, for the longest time, especially in the last administration, members of the executives were used to just being treated with kid gloves, except in just a few circumstances. As I said, Kulego Hlengwa, Glennis, Floyd, when he was in the EFF, and other EFF or other DA members of parliament and other parties, they did hold some of the members of the executive accountable, but largely they were treated with kid gloves. And that's now out of the window. We've got young people. The injection of young people in parliament has been really the best thing, really, to happen to this institution, because now we see it, right? The very purpose and intention of parliament to hold the executive accountable, we see it every day. They prepare so well. I think, kudos to them. We should actually one day do an across the desk with these young members of parliament. It's 2 minutes now before 10.
Kickstart your small business with a starter bundle from Nedbank. Enjoy free transactions for 6 months, including free cash deposits and withdrawals and a free debit card with easy digital access and a dedicated banker to guide you along every step of the way. Open a Nedbank starter bundle with SA's best bank for SMEs. Apply on the Money app today. Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Checkers XXL Savings is back with new deals every week. Save extra on Bacoma Wheat Bix 900 grams or cornflake cereal 1 kg. Any two for 99 Rand. Clover Gouda or cheddar cheese 800 grams. Any for $99.99. Plus, stand to win the weekly XXL jackpot competition. Simply buy any 3 participating products, swipe your extra savings card, and get a scratch card to enter. Deals valid until Sunday at Checkers.
77% of South Africans rely on themselves for decision-making around financial advice, while 12% trust relatives and friends as a reliable source. 702 and Momentum invite you to share the money moments that didn't go as planned, because every financial misstep has something to teach us, and now it could also reward you. Hit primemediaplus.com and tell us about the time you followed financial advice that backfired because it didn't quite fit your unique context. You could win 10,000 Rand in cash thanks to Momentum. This week, tune into 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays from 6 a.m. because we could be calling you to share your story. Turn your financial regret into something greater. Turn it into reward. T's and C's and more at primemediaplus.com.
It's 10 o'clock, time for the latest in Eyewitness News. After that, it's the Hanging Out feature. Simphiwe Dana is hanging out with us as we celebrate 20 years of her in the music industry.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Residents affected by recent floods in the Eastern Cape say they are concerned about how they will rebuild their damaged homes and continue with their lives. Search and rescue operations have resumed this morning, with crews expected to continue coming through areas like Dikolini and Joslovo west of Mthatha. 49 people have died in the floods, with the number expected to increase. 4 children are still missing after a 22-seater minibus they were travelling in was swept away by floodwaters. Some people who've been accommodated at a school hall say they are worried.
No, we can't rebuild now. We are still scared. We're still staying at school.
I don't even know what I'm going to do. How long I'm going to stay at my friend's house. I don't have any phones, anything.
The DA says it's proven the naysayers wrong, that the government of national unity would not survive the crucial budget test. A fiscal framework which underpins the 2025 national budget was finally passed by both houses of parliament during separate sittings yesterday. While Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has described the 4-month-long process as a painful journey, the DA is celebrating having forced his hand to retract a value-added tax increase. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
As the formation of the Government of National Unity comes up for its first anniversary this weekend, the DA's Mark Burke says the budget process has shown his party will push the envelope to stand up for what it believes in.
We will remain in the room even if there are those vying for us to leave so that they can raise your taxes in peace.
Burke says the party is not prepared to be a pushover, and after 3 versions of the budget and a court challenge, it's finally satisfied with spending on infrastructure, an audit of ghost employees and comprehensive spending reviews.
It's a story that runs far deeper than the headlines of too much expenditure, too much debt, and too little economic growth. It's a document born in concealment, raised in conflict, and matured on compromise.
The DA says having stopped a VAT increase, it will now get to work to stop economic stagnation. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The construction of a driving license testing centre in the Vaal is yet to be completed 10 years since the project started. Construction of the Sebokeng Centre began in 2015, with its completion initially planned for 2016. But a decade later, work is still not finished, despite 87 million rand already spent, including costs for a private security company. Faramushwana has more.
What was once envisioned by the Gauteng government to be bustling with learner drivers in 2025 now stands abandoned with no sign of life. Ceilings have collapsed on every floor, while the grass outside grows taller by the day. The construction of the Sebokeng DLTC was originally budgeted at 63 million rand, but the cost eventually soared to over 80 million rand. The DA's Kingsel Chabalala says it comes as no surprise that millions have been wasted.
The ANC cannot complete projects within time and within a budget.
The reconstruction of the DLTC is expected to resume tomorrow, marking 10 years since it first began. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
And there's uneasy calm in Los Angeles after the first night of a curfew was lifted, as cities across the U.S. brace for more protests. Nearly 400 people have so far been arrested in L.A., including 330 undocumented migrants and 157 people arrested for assaults and obstruction, including one for the attempted murder of a police officer. Prosecutors have so far charged 2 men for throwing Molotov cocktails at police officers in 2 separate incidents. A total of 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines have been deployed to help quell the unrest. Some of those National Guard troops are now authorized to detain people until police can arrest them. LA Mayor Karen Bass has blamed the protests on U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration raids, which she says provoke residents by causing fear and panic.
This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know. I posit that maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor.
Gold is trading at $3,371.85 an ounce. The rand is at 17.69 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.48 a barrel.
In Alberton, you can still expect heavy delays. This is on the R59 southbound heading towards Vereeniging. That's between the N12 Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. Also traveling from Edenville, heading towards Bedfordview. Traffic is a bit sluggish on the R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gululis Interchange, and in the Fairland area. There's an accident scene on Bearsnodia near Fairland Walk Shopping Centre, causing heavy delays all the way from the N1.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: residents affected by floods in the Eastern Cape say they are concerned about how they will rebuild their damaged homes and continue with their lives.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 Listens.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702. And as always, thank you for your calls, your WhatsApps, your tweets, or X's, if you call it that, on the 702 open line this morning. Let's start now with our Hanging Out feature.
Hanging Out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So on our Hanging Out feature today, we've got a multi-award winning artist. She's really everything. She's a fashion icon. She's a powerhouse. I said to you earlier, she's one of those artists with just so much depth. And this year she celebrates 20 years in the music industry. Her name is Simphiwe Dana, and I'm so glad that she came here in the cold to hang out with us as we celebrate her, as she celebrates 20 years in the music industry. Unjani? Ndiyaphila. Welcome to the show.
No, thank you so much for having me, and it's nice and toasty in here. So
Yeah, that's great. The last time I spoke to you on this show was via Zoom. It was in 2021, early 2021, and we were still shocked by COVID at the time. I remember it was all of us were still trying to figure this thing out. So I'm so glad that you are here in the flesh, in studio with us.
Yeah, COVID changed us forever.
It did, hey?
Sure. In many ways.
20 years. Can you believe we're here?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it's been 20 years. It feels like... It just feels like I've been in this game all my life now. Yeah. And time has really stopped. It has ceased to exist. So when someone tells me that, 20 years have passed, I'm like, what? It shocks me every time.
It shocks you. Do you think there are people who never thought you would get here? And the reason I'm asking you that is when you came in, you came with a uniquely crafted sound. And everybody else was so fascinated by the sound. It's new. And sometimes some people will say, yeah, it's fine now. It's amazing right now, but I don't know how relevant it's going to be in future. But you came with this uniquely crafted sound, and it's still being celebrated and appreciated today. That's why I'm asking if there are people who were questioning that sound and they wanted you to go somehow mainstream and do what is traditional.
Well, luckily, I've never had anyone tell me to go mainstream. I was tempted before I found myself, because I did have connections in the industry. I knew Oskido. I had done a song with Lebu Matosa. So I if I wanted to do kwaito, I wanted to do house music, I could do it. But it was at a time when I hadn't found myself. So I was tempted because, I came to Joburg to sing and be a star. But luckily for me, I then met my tribe of people who brought me back to myself. And when that happened, I then took from me, like from my personal experiences, from my worldview, from my environment that nurtured me when it came to writing. So I've never written for trends. And it's possible that maybe someone was like, this sound is not going to last. It's possible, but no one has ever said it to my face.
To you. I like that. I've never written for trends.
Yeah.
Because also with you, the difference with you also is you're not the type of artist that just releases albums, Jay.
Yeah.
What is the thinking around that? Because sometimes you frustrate us as the fans because we're like, Aibo Sisi, where's the music? But you really take your time. And someone once said, artists must only speak or write or create when it's necessary, when they have something to say. Don't just because you're a singer or you're an actor, you take up any role or you write songs just because you want to release. What's your thought process about creating music?
Well, firstly, the quickest way to kill your career is to feel like you have to release. You have to bring something out. It must come naturally to you. For me, I know that it's time to go to studio when I feel like I'm going to explode. I need to offload. All the experiences and how I felt about them, like what I've seen as an observer, because as an artist, I observe society. So I have all of this stuff that I need to.
Good and bad.
Yes, I have to vomit it out. Onto a song, onto a page, and that's when I write. I don't write because it's been so many years I have not written. I think that's the quickest way to kill your own career because it's not genuine. You're not doing it because you spiritually you feel compelled. You just thinking it's time for something new.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, I've got how many albums? 5 albums.
And in 20 years in
and I'm only mentioning, like the studio albums.
The studio albums,
I'm not mentioning others in that 20 years. So maybe one album per 5 years. No, per 4 years.
Yo. Is there a specific one that was really to this day close to your heart? I mean, when we think of Zandisile, it's like, wow. But you've always just outdone yourself. What is the one album over the last 20 years that you thought, that's a special one, it's very close to my heart, and why?
Do you understand how unfair your question
I know.
is?
I know.
I always equate this question to someone asking, which of your children do you
love the most? Yeah.
Okay, but I will say that Culture Noir, it holds a special place in my heart because that album was me telling myself, okay, I'm coming of age. I was turning 30. I was like, 30, the big number. That was 15 years ago. So that album, I wanted it to reflect that I'm finally a grown woman. I had that thing in my head. Even the styling for the album, respectful, or what's the word?
Usisi, man.
Usisomdala, So that album was special to me because it was not just that, it was me feeling like I'm coming of age, but I was coming of age. Like, even musically, I was coming of age.
How did you navigate fame and this industry? Because you are saying now, Culture Noir, you were 30. I mean, when you started, how old were you?
My first album came out when I was 24.
I mean, that's young, eh?
Yeah.
How was it for you? Like, how did you navigate? I mean, there's so many things to just be cautious of. Like, people may just want to exploit you because they think you're a little child who doesn't know much. Then there's fame that comes, and there's just possibilities to get absorbed in other things that may not be good for you. What was that experience for you? How did you manage to withstand that to a point where now we can sit with you and celebrate 20 years?
I could say that I'm stubborn, but I don't think it's a fair explanation or depiction of who I am. I just am very adamant when I know that this is not who I am. Whatever you're trying to suggest to me is not who I am. So I've always been able to, and I'm a village girl. We just open our mouth and we talk. I'm very honest and I'm very upfront, and I'll come to you. I'm not going to go behind your back. I'll come straight to you and talk to you. And like, okay, I'm hearing this. Is there an issue? Can we talk about it? And I'm mentioning this because it got to a point where Simphiwe is a diva, this and this and that. I remember one record label executive telling me that you won't last in this industry if you don't listen to other people's ideas. We've been in this industry for so long. And in my head, I was like, you've never dealt with an artist like me.
Yes.
Whatever your understanding of branding is, or marketing is, or this and that, please take a listen to the music. Do not use the generic avenues.
Yeah.
Don't use generic ideas when it comes to marketing my work.
Yeah. I'm different.
I will not dress like that. So like most of the things, I made sure that I come already with the idea creatively. Like, this is the dress I want to wear. It must look like this. It must be, so I have a control over my creative process.
Yeah.
Because I understand that I'm different. I'm different. So what works for other artists will not work for me.
Yeah.
And I work very well with people with amazing, because I do listen to ideas, and then if it's me, then
and
I
it
can
aligns
work on
with
it.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we while we talk, we also wanna play some music, and I want us to start with Mayine, which is also one of your own favorite songs. Tell me
From
why.
Culture. Is it from Culture Noir? I think it's from
Yes.
Culture Noir.
So tell me about why this is what is it about the song? What place in your life were you when you were working on this particular number?
This song, I wrote this song for Mamubu Simhlongo. At the time, I was traveling a lot, on tour in Europe, etc. And when I would find him, because she was quite sick by then, when I would find time, I would call her to just check up on her, and we would talk. I remember I came home one time and my phone bill was insane because we would talk and talk and talk and talk. And the beautiful thing about her, she never put herself first. Here's a woman who was suffering terribly. And every time I would call her, she would just be, affirming me. I love you so much. You are so amazing. And I'm like, no, I'm calling to check on you. How are you? No, don't worry. I'm fine. You are so talented. You are this. She was always just, affirming me. And it broke my heart that a legend, someone who has enriched, our musical landscape so much, that she was suffering like that. And that's just how it would be. So I wrote Mayine that I wish blessings on your life.
Oh, what a song.
Yeka ukuzibamba. Yambela, diggy, 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 diggy. Oh, diggy, diggy, diggy. Yambela, diggy, 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 diggy. Oh, diggy, diggy, yombela, diggy, diggy. Oh, diggy, diggy, yombela, diggy, diggy. No, malibale, le. Ah, sale tutu, mazulu. Ah, tutuma, no malibalele kutsenanga mikungani. Ngathi kufanele ngibuke emehlweni yakho mayinembula. Hey, 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 mayine, mayine. Oh, diggy, diggy, mayine, mayine. Mayine, bella tikiti. Oh, diggy, yeah, bella tikiti. Bella tikiti. No más senilele, ay azipeli, dilele mazinye, esi. No más senilele, no más senilele, luja kupile.
Oh man, what a song. What a song. We're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. I'll go to your WhatsApps as well after the break on 072-702-1702.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
What are members of the executive doing with your taxpayer money? Lerato Ngobeni, Action SA's parliamentary chief whip, wants answers.
When we ask what was the value of the trip, what is the return on investment for the country, you never get the answer. In the case of Minister Ntshabeni, the whole of South Africa was watching when that contingent was in the White House, and none of them said a single word. Why were they there? And we, as South Africans, deserve a response.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Have you heard the latest news? Vincent, a 40-year-old man, wanted to save money on his car insurance premium, so he got a quote from Outsurance. Vincent now saves a massive 990 Rand a month on his 2022 Ford Ranger 2.2 litre. Get a quote today. See how much OutSurance could save you on your car insurance. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. You always get something out. Licensed insurance FSP. T's and C's and information online.
Are you in your deal-making season? Your I'm on the rise season? Your finer things in life season? You'll love the Husser Grill seasonal lunch offer. Enjoy a 2-course meal for only 199 Rand. Perfect for that business lunch, lunch with friends, or a solo date for some quality time with self. Now that's the deal of the season. Available Monday to Saturday, 12 to 4 p.m. The Husser Grill, celebrating 60 years of excellence.
Girls and Boys Town isn't just a children's home. It's where broken childhoods find a second chance. Tomorrow on 702 Drive with John Perlman will shine a light on the work of Girls and Boys Town, South Africa, to find out what it takes to create a place of deep healing, structure, and love for children in need. This meaningful discussion is brought to you by the Discam Foundation. Remember, when you swipe your Discam or Baby City benefit card, you help support life-changing initiatives like Girls and Boys Town. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
27 minutes after 10 o'clock, Simphiwe Dana is hanging out with us this morning on the Hanging Out feature. Let's start with your WhatsApps first.
Morning, Clem. Yo, Simphiwe Dana. I'm a big fan. I would say she's the most authentic singer, songwriter that we've ever had, Mom Zanzi. No comparison, but in my mind, she's I can count people like Brenda Fassie, the legend, and your favorite Zonke, and Lebo Matosa herself. She's very authentic. I love her musical style. First heard her on the Izo soundtrack, and then I said, "Who's this woman?" And then I would later find out it's Simphiwe Dana, and then she just blessed us ever since then. Great show, as always. Kabelo from Pretoria.
Good morning, Clement. Yeah, you've got a powerhouse there. I remember when that Zandisile album came out, I heard it then it was Kaya FM. I immediately got hold of the CD on the same day because it was still those days where CDs were still available. A very, very powerhouse. I love Simphiwe Dana. Her music is so unique, and I wish her all the best. This is Papa calling from Tembisa. Keep shining, Simphiwe.
Hey, Clement. Simphiwe. Yo, siswami. Sakhula sihlupheka. Sashindala. Siphethe inyembezi ezeminyaka. I played that song for my final recital in my music studies, and it warmed up the room. Many learners didn't know about the album, but I bought it as I was coming back from Germany, listening on the SAFM on the flight, and it has changed my life. Thank you. This is Clement in Johannesburg.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mazingozi, you calling us from Midrand. Good morning. Hi, Mazingozi.
Yes, good morning. I was Simphiwe. I'm not sure if an artist, remembers all her live performances, but a couple of years ago, Cape Town Jazz Festival, you had an opening. I remember it very well. You opened with this Comrade song, Ya Solomon. And my God, all of these black people that were there, this is a specific LSM, they had their feast all in the air and singing with you, Solomon. I have never seen an artist open their set like that, both locally and internationally. It was so powerful. It was so moving. I've never forgotten it. Even when I think about it now, I got goosebumps that you would have the thought of just opening your set with Solomon and all of the black people were singing along with you. Cape Town Jazz Festival a couple of years ago. One of the best moments in my music life. I love you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Putwa.
Thank you, Magingos. What do you prefer most? Like, do you love live performances, or are you more of a studio?
No, I love live performances.
Yeah.
Studio's torture.
Yeah.
Studio's torture.
Yeah.
Live performances, they just come more naturally. Studio, you are listening for every little mistake that you are making. You know, whereas on stage, you just close your eyes and you just let go.
Be in this moment.
And be in the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, it's 10:31. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we'll continue this chat with Simphiwe Dana, and we'll play some more music as well and take more of your calls and WhatsApps as well. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Taxi Council Santako says it's standing in solidarity with families and the community of Umtata following the tragic Scholar Transport disaster that claimed several lives earlier this week. Today, national leadership from Santako will visit the Kolini village, where a 22-seater minibus carrying school learners was swept away by floodwaters. The vehicle, which belonged to one of their members, was caught in strong torrents near the Tsitsiga River. The bodies of 3 young people who died in a light aircraft crash in KwaZulu-Natal will undergo post-mortems in Richards Bay today. The victims were part of a 3-plane formation flying from Durban to Pretoria on Sunday. 2 of the aircrafts went missing and were only located the following day. And Washington Mayor Lisa Brown has declared a state of emergency in response to 2 anti-U.S. immigration and customs enforcement protests. Police officers threw tear gas to hundreds of protesters who blocked federal agents from leaving a downtown immigration office in Spokane, with refugees detained at court hearings yesterday. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are in the Alberton area heading towards Vereeniging, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the R59 southbound. That's between the N12 Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. Some good news, though, in the Fairland area. That accident seen on Beyers Nodia near Fairland Walk Shopping Centre has been cleared and traffic is now free-flowing. However, if you are heading into the Joburg CBD coming from Rivoli, there's slow-moving traffic on Main Reef Road between Nasrec Road and the M2. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road. Traffic lights also not working. That's in the Alex area at Far East Bank and Marlborough Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
My name is Sipati. I'm from Boxback. What I love about 702 is that it exposes us to the global community. So at the moment, if you are locally in South Africa or Africa, you get exposed to the US, the UK, because of the international exposures that we have. So thank you very much, 702, for exposing some of us who have never been out there in the world, but we see the global world, the global community through your eyes. Thank you, 702. Big ups.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Make your dad's day the best ever this Father's Day with the perfect fragrance from Clicks. Whether he loves a bold classic or a fresh new scent, Clicks has just a pick to make him feel legendary. From 12 until the 15th of June, save 30% on selected men's fine single fragrances, including Mont Blanc, Explorer EDT, Dunhill Desire Blue EDT, Jimmy Choo Men Intense EDT, Guess Umo EDT, and more. Visit Clicks, shop online or on the app.
You know, ever since I adopted positive energy-saving behaviors, the National Grid is thanking me. You should also adopt this lifestyle and your pocket will thank you too. Simply switch off non-essential appliances and lights when they're not in use. Reduce your geyser temperature to 60 degrees Celsius. Replace inefficient lights with LED lights. These are some of the ways you can use electricity wisely to help sustain our energy grid and contribute to a greener planet. Just like every rand counts, every kilowatt counts. Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
In 2024, Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 gave away 200,000 Rand to one extraordinary small business that dared to reinvent, expand, and shake things up.
what I wanted now is that I wanted to start to manufacture my own emulsion, but the cost behind that, it was very huge. And then also through the 702, I was able to be given the money and also the exposure. I saw the 702 lenders coming, they bought the paint, people who were painting people's houses. It helps us actually in terms of improving our cash flow, and then a lot of money that we also got from this project, and then we were able to invest it. And then I can safely say that this accelerated the division of our emulsion.
In 2025, that small business owner could be you. So, if you're an SME that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
24 minutes before 11 o'clock, Simphiwe Dana in studio with us for our Hanging Out feature. And we're going to play some music as well, but I want to take a quick call, some WhatsApps, and go back to music because there are other songs you listen to, right, that are your favorite. In fact, do you listen to your songs the most, or do you listen to other people's songs the most when you're driving or at the gym?
Definitely do not listen. The thing is, when I'm listening to my songs, I'm a perfectionist. So
you criticize.
I'm criticizing. I'm like, oh my God, there's a mistake there. Oh my God, so it's
yeah. Have you arrived like in places where people are listening to your music, or in an Uber where like does it like do you go, oh, I hope then they don't see that it's me? Because now you're criticizing yourself and thinking, why did I say that like that?
No. Like when I'm in public, I act like I can't hear anything.
Yeah,
I don't see anything.
I'm in my little zone.
Yes, but also I'm used to people playing my music because my friends, once they imbibe one or two, they want to play my music and sing along.
Okay, Kaya was calling us. Is that your sister?
Kaya, my sister is calling.
Yes.
Wow.
Hello, sister. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good.
Word.
Oh, please. So tell us about your sister. I mean, you know her intimately. We engage with her as an artist, appreciating her artistry. When umaze Kaya.
Yeah. Something a lot of people don't know about my sister. Like, my sister is very funny.
Yeah?
Hilarious. She's the jokester of the family, always making jokes, always kidding around. And because she puts out, like, she's a very serious person as well, which is the side that you guys know. But the Simphiwe in the house is completely different. Like the comedian.
Why are you doing this? Why
There's the joker in the household.
So I'm just being honest. Like, he taught me to be all the time. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And her love for music, is that something you guys saw as well from the early days?
I've always known my sister as someone who sings. Like, we have a 8-year difference. So born to her already singing. So I've always known her as someone that sings.
Oh man, that's amazing. Kaya, thank you. That's your sister there.
I will talk to you when I get home.
Yeah, and admonish you. Here's some WhatsApp voice notes that have come through.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to my favorite artist, Simphiwe Dana. We are sitting there with my favorite artist, and she just chose my favorite song of hers. Thank you for giving us this prayer, Mam Simphiwe. Siabo. Aaron Mahada from Soweto. Thank you.
Clement, good morning. Thanks for bringing Simphiwe in. Simphiwe, we do enjoy your craft. Your music is at another level. It's a testament that you're not just a performer, but an activist who knows what she is singing about. If one listens to your song, the Bantu Steve Biko song, you really get a sense of the freshness of something we never heard before. It's really amazing. Yeah, Clement, we really enjoy her craft. Thanks. Anonymous.
Hi, Clement. Molo Sisi. I was first introduced to Simphiwe when my mother, when I was in high school, bought Uzandisile It was transformational. I enjoyed that album. And then when I got older at varsity, she released One Love Movement, which was amazing. We enjoyed it as students, the way that students will do. Love you so much. Please keep it going. And release an album that's similar to those albums that you produced the first time. They really speak to our souls. Tulani Nsenton.
Good morning, Clement and Simphiwe Dana, right here in the studio. My goodness, Clement, that woman is just too amazing to describe. Like, I am telling you, the Simphiwe Dana, she's something else. My goodness, she is so talented. She is so gorgeous. She is just so humble. Like, she walks with grace. Like, there is like nothing I think one can pinpoint about Simphiwe where people want to pinpoint things. I think she just carries her own crown so gracefully and so beautifully. I love her music. I just love Simphiwe Dana. I mean, really, she is her own person, and that's what really makes her unique.
You've got a few shows lined up actually where you're going to be celebrating 20 years.
Yes.
Are you going to take people on that musical journey and go beginning to end?
Definitely. And I'm actually excited. I'm doing Durban first at the Playhouse, and I'm excited because I'm going to be joined by the Red Lights Choir. And you know me, I like big shows, lots of voices. So they'll be joining me for that, and we'll do a couple of songs, and I can't wait to see how that even looks on stage. So it's Durban Playhouse on the 14th, which is this weekend, this Saturday. And then I'm going to the Baxter Theatre in Cape Town on the 27th and the 28th of June. And I'm still working on Joburg and Eastern
I've got
Cape.
so many tweets of people saying, Haiba, what's going on with Joburg? When are our dates?
I'm still working on Joburg, and I'm working on the Eastern Cape as well. And we will put out those dates as soon as we finalize a number of things.
So when you are listening and you are just in your space, what are some of the songs you listen to? I know you love Mercedes Sosa. Tell me about her and why she's one of your favorite artists.
I actually forget right now which country she's from, but she's she comes from one of these countries that speaks Spanish, or a variety of Spanish. Mercedes Sosa was a beloved artist in her country, and she tackled everyday issues that people were going through. So in a way, then, we were similar in that we care about the human condition. To a point that her government was not happy with her, and they arrested her. Now, you will never believe what happened next. The people of her country, they broke down the prison gates and they freed her. Government was too scared to ever,
of course,
try to jail her
again.
Yeah. But now what I love about her music is the spirituality, is the honesty in her voice. It takes me places. It's the same feeling I get when I'm listening to Jonas Gwango's Flowers of the Nation. That song, it just takes me, to a different realm. She has a talent similar to that.
Yeah. Well, here's a taste of Mercedes Sosa.
ten piedad de nosotros. Cristo, ten piedad de nosotros. Cristo, ten piedad de nosotros.
I happen to listen to Simphiwe on SMWX. I know it's strictly not your station, but let's park that for a moment. And she talks about how painfully shy she was as a child, and how it pained her to even look at people. And when she went on stage, she would close her eyes so she didn't have to see people. And I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, darling, for that message, because I've got a girl just like that. She's shy, she's scared of people, scared of noise, scared of everything, scared of the world. And we've been advised in various ways to consider some type of anti-anxiety medication, but in my heart I always felt that she's exactly the way she is and that she will make her impact on the world. And so I really wanted to give you the biggest virtual hug for doing that.
Hi, Clement. My name is Reggie. You know, I used to love that song, say, "Dee Dee," you see. So I didn't hear other lyrics, you know, what she was saying, but I know she was saying, "Ndireji, Ndireji." So I was so happy to hear that song. Listen to other lyrics. I just wanted to listen to that part. Reggie here from Florida, Brian from Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Reggie. This Youth Month, the call is clear. South Africa's future needs you. One job opportunity is all it takes to spark catalytic change. Youth employment transforms lives, uplifts a community, and fuels the economy. With Youth Employment Service, your business becomes a launching pad for future-ready talent and sustainable growth. Over 1,840 companies have stepped up. Will you? One job, countless futures. Visit yesforyouth.co.za and join today.
Volksfest deals are back. Get a free upgrade to the Polo Vivo Life when you buy a new Polo Vivo and pay 0% deposit. Get more features at no extra cost. Buy it now and only pay 3 months later. Offer valid only through Volkswagen Financial Services. Looking for something sportier? The stylish T-Cross is yours from just 399,900 Rand. These Volksfest deals won't last. Visit your nearest dealer today or visit vw.co.za.
This isn't just a walk, it's a journey through memory, through meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns on Sunday, the 27th of July. Walk from the hallowed grounds of Freedom Park to the southern lawns of the Union Buildings and past some of the capital city's most iconic landmarks. Choose from 8 kilometers, 6.7 kilometers in honor of Mandela Month, or 4 kilometers for something lighter. Entry is 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for kids under 12. There's no parking at the start or end, so please book your park and ride from Joburg or Pretoria when you enter. Sign up on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Walk with meaning. Walk with us.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes before 11 o'clock, we've been hanging out with Simphiwe Dana. I have to play in the radio in Kwekwezi before we wrap. I mean, otherwise they're going to kill me.
It's your choice.
Yeah, they're going to kill me. Let's start though with a call from Tato in Olivedale. Tato, good morning.
Hey, Clement, how are you?
Good, man. Go ahead.
That lady right there used to come and visit me, my house in Tableview, and cook every Sunday with my mother-in-law.
Mm.
And then, if she still remembers, I'm Koketso Sachane's brother-in-law.
Oh my God, of course I remember.
You remember you used to come and cook for us.
I am a very good cook. I'm a
Come with your
creative in
kids.
every sense of the word.
Come with your kids and swim. And then you hated me because I became friends with your ex. What's his name?
No, we are not doing that.
And then something profound happened.
Yeah.
There was an accident with you and him driving, I think, in the Eastern Cape.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law loved you so much. He said, we need to repair it and save this woman's life.
Oh, wow.
That car, we prayed for that car. And
Yeah.
I still love you.
Thank you so
Hope
much.
to see you again. I lost your number, but you need to come to my house.
No, don't worry. Koketso will find my number.
Yeah. Tato in Olivedale, thank you. Spamandla, you're in Durban. Hi.
Hello, Clement. How are you?
Good. Spamandla. I hope we're going to see her live.
Lalela, I bought the tickets in March. So it's so
Lovely.
unfortunate that I buried my mother last week on Saturday.
Oh, sorry
so
about
I'm
that.
still in mourning.
I'm
still
so
in mourning.
sorry,
But
sis.
I said to myself, because now my father is no longer, and she was the only, the person, my beacon and stuff.
Yeah.
So because, in the African culture, you have to be in mourning for a certain period of time.
Mhm.
So I just asked my elders, Gaga Makatini, I'm like, can I go? I bought this ticket in March, and I know wherever she is, my mom will, she'll have to understand I have to attend, at the Durban Playhouse. I've seen Tandiswa last year, and I'm like, it's one of my bucket lists. I've seen Zamajobe even this year in Durban. And now I'm like, those three people, and especially Simphiwe Dana, I love her. And your music, and it really helped me even to navigate, when I listen to your albums and through the darkest time. The past 2 weeks has been hell for me, and my mom was in ICU. But I am going to go. I'll definitely attend, and I'll be shouting, and I'll be carrying a South African flag. And if they're going to allow you, you're going to see me definitely. And we love your music in Durban. We do it, Tegwin as a whole. And yeah, your music just, it heals Mama. And yeah, continue. And Siyakuthanda, whatever they say, Sinanje Sinawe. And of course, yeah, you are loved always. Ne?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Spamandla, firstly, I must say that I know the pain that you're going through. And thank you for loving me. I will have a song that I'll perform for your mother at the show.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
My condolences to you and your family.
Condolences, Pamandla. Thank you for calling. And you, you've dealt with grief yourself.
Yes, I lost my mother in 2021. Yeah.
It's a song you performed at, was it the Joburg Theatre?
Mm-hmm.
The last time you had a show there. You had worked with Ugrigori. Oh,
yeah, Gregory Makoma is.
what you guys did with that show.
Moya.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was so it was really a spiritual encounter. It wasn't just the show. It was such a spiritual encounter. What else are we gonna get a book? Are you writing?
I'm working on an exhibition.
Okay.
With I did a collaborative project with Zanele Muholi and Dumi Mpolo, who owns Afro Boutique hair salon. Dumi is the one who does my headpieces. So we've done a collaboration. We will be exhibiting with Everard Reed in October. And we are also looking for other avenues to exhibit the work.
Yeah.
So out of that, I want to do a coffee table book, right, with my writings, because I have a lot of writings in that coffee table book. So I'm not ready yet to write, whether it's my biography or
Songs.
or just a story. No. I'm talking about my other creative side now. Just you do know that I used to have a column, even. Yeah,
remember?
Yeah, so I have a lot of writings that were obviously not released because I'm focusing on music. So I want to put some of those writings in a coffee table book together with the artworks for a start, and then later I will write some books.
I'm looking forward to that. And
Thank
again,
you.
that's what we appreciate the most about you is you really take your time. Like when I'm ready to do this, when it's time to do it, and that's when you step into it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the beautiful music that you've blessed us with over the last 20 years. And I can't wait to see you live as well as you celebrate 20 years.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All the best.
Take care.
It's 2 minutes before 11.
Peggy, hello?
Smart Steve from Momentum here. Can I have a minute?
Time is money, Steve. What are you trying to sell me?
Get this. By using your smartphone, we can check your health in a quick 90-second screening. And if you answer a few extra fitness questions, you can save up to 35%.
So Momentum has tech that saves me time.
You see, you catch on fast.
That sounds great, Steve. How do I get it?
The smart move is to chat with your financial advisor about Momentum life returns to save on your life insurance premiums.
Take my money, Steve.
Momentum, protecting your journey to success. Momentum is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
In 2024, Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 gave away 200,000 Rand to one extraordinary small business that dared to reinvent, expand, and shake things up.
What I wanted now is that I wanted to start to manufacture my own emulsion, but the cost behind that, it was very huge. And then also through the 702, I was able to be given the money and also the exposure. I saw the 702 lenders coming, they bought the paint, people who were painting people's houses. It helps us actually in terms of improving our cash flow, and then a lot of money that we also got from this project, and then we were able to invest it. And then I can safely say that this accelerated the division of our emulsion.
In 2025, that small business owner could be you. So, if you're an SME that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Taxi Council Santaco says it's standing in solidarity with families and the community of Mthatha following the tragic Scholar transport disaster that claimed several lives earlier this week. Today, national leadership from Santaco is visiting the Kolini village where a 22-seater minibus carrying school learners was swept away by floodwaters. The vehicle, which belonged to one of their members, was caught in a strong torrent near the Tsitsiga River. 4 learners remain missing and the death toll from the floods in the province now stands at 49. Spokesperson Machiki Dipala says Santaco is committed to supporting relief efforts.
We wish to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families of the learners who have tragically lost their lives, as well as to all other victims impacted by the recent flooding in the province.
The bodies of 3 young people who died in a light aircraft crash in KwaZulu-Natal will undergo post-mortems in Richards Bay today. The victims were part of a 3-plane formation flying from Durban to Pretoria on Sunday. 2 of the aircrafts went missing and were only located the following day, while one crash resulted in no fatalities. The second, which was found in a dense bush, claimed 3 lives. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
KwaZulu-Natal's Transport Department says a skilled pathologist will conduct the post-mortems of the 3 young men who died in the aircraft crash. Once completed, the bodies will be transported to Greytown where their families can collect them. The victims have been identified as student pilot Ngobile Biela, who will be buried in Umlazi, fellow pilot Lula Mamsane, who will be laid to rest in Dandi, and student Dr. Spesi Hlebutelezi to be buried in Kandla. The families hope to hold funerals this weekend, but say they are waiting for post-mortem results first. Meanwhile, an official investigation into the crash is underway, with a full report expected within 30 days. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
In the Western Cape, the husband of an SA Navy commander who died after being swept off a submarine in stormy seas off the coast of Komiki says he feels vindicated by the DA and the Hawks' interest in the matter. Lieutenant Commander Gillian Hector, Master Warrant Officer William Matipa and Warrant Officer Mokwapa Mojela died during the incident in September 2023. Hector's widower, Commander Romero Hector, who's also a Navy officer, is still looking for answers. Carlo Peterson reports.
The Democratic Alliance has called on the Department of Defense to declassify a SA Navy report related to the Mantatisi submarine tragedy. At the same time, the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigations has indicated an investigation into the incident is underway. SA Navy Commander Romero Hector, whose wife, Lieutenant Commander Gillian Hector, died during the incident, says he approached his superiors for full disclosure after suspecting negligence, but was met with red tape.
For this last year and a half, I've been trying to do this. To have these 2 entities now, the Hawks as well as the DA, now come on board and seeing what I've been seeing and what I've been saying all along, that I have suspicion of all of this, and there's a reason behind them hiding this. It's just welcome beyond words by me and the family.
The SA Defence Force says its legal team will cooperate with the Hawks while also attending to Commander Hector's requests and concerns. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And Washington Mayor Lisa Brown has declared a state of emergency in response to 2 anti-U.S. immigration and customs enforcement protests. Police officers threw tear gas to hundreds of protesters who blocked federal agents from leaving a downtown immigration office in Spokane, with refugees detained at court hearings yesterday. This is one of many protests that are expected in other parts of the U.S. following immigration raids which sparked violent protests in Los Angeles. During a media briefing, Washington Mayor Lisa Brown says a curfew has been implemented to avoid violence.
We learned that vandalism was occurring, an incident with respect to the ICE vehicle, other vehicles parked near the property, some vandalism on park property, that the crowd was growing and that tensions were escalating.
Gold is trading at $3,371.85 an ounce. The rand is at 17.69 to the dollar, 24.04 to the pound, 20.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.48 a barrel.
Alberton heading towards Vereeniging. You can still expect some delays on the R59 southbound between the N12 Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. Heading into the Joburg CBD, that's coming from the Riverlea area. Slow-moving traffic in Amalgam on Main Reef Road, approaching the M2, while in Leratong, that's in the Roodepoort area, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Randfontein Road. That's between Corlett Avenue and Adcock. This is due to an earlier accident.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 16 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Taxi Council Santako says it's standing in solidarity with families and the community of Mthatha following the tragic Scholar Transport disaster that claimed several lives.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first timers in 702's Walk the Talk. Tickets on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Time for our Thursday dialogue.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's Walk the Talk on 702.
We're doing a different kind of a Thursday dialogue today, which is what we do whenever we've got some breaking news. And of course, today we're focusing on this devastating situation in the Eastern Cape, the devastating floods that have claimed, I think so far, 49 lives. The Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, has described this as one of the most painful tragedies to hit the province in recent years. And it's just been so devastating. Emergency response teams have been dispatched to various areas, and they're working around the clock to provide critical support to communities that have been impacted. My understanding is that schools have also been affected. Around 6,000 learners have been impacted by the devastating storm. There are about 58 or so schools that have been damaged as well. So what we'll do this hour is speak to the different stakeholders. We're going to start now with the Premier of the Eastern Cape. I'll bring in the other ministers as well. We've got a reporter on the ground as well who will chat to us. So let's welcome Oscar Mabuyane, who is the Premier of the Eastern Cape first. Premier, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Thanks to you, and good morning to your listeners. Thank you so much.
What is the extent of the flood damage in the province, and particularly in Mthatha?
It's horrific. It's horrific, Clement. Since that I've seen there yesterday is terrible. We still hard at work with our rescue teams. We've got about 5 rescue teams on the ground. The subs teams, also the health rescue teams that are working from an aerial point of view. Also, we've got aquatic team and those that are terrestrial. So it's not an easy situation. At least now, water has subsided. It's easy to move across. It's a question of working on a mud situation. It's so bad. It's something that we have never seen. We have never experienced. I've heard in the Bible about something called Nogumbe. I suspect it was Nogumbe that visited our people there. And unfortunately, it happened in the very difficult hours, very early hours of the morning on that day. Kind of people caught off guard. Yes, there were warnings from South African weather services, but no one would have actually imagined or anticipate what has happened there. Yes, we are a disaster-prone province. We've seen the issues, challenges of global warming and climate change, and we never ever thought we can experience such levels of floods during winter. We're always preparing ourselves in winter for snow this side, but with that kind of rain that actually fell on that part, it's something that indeed it makes all of us to understand that the global warming is inevitable. It is here.
Yeah. How many people have died so far? The last I checked, that number was at 49. And are there still others that are still missing? Do we know the number of those missing, if they are?
Because of the magnitude of what has happened there, yes, you are right. As of yesterday, we were counting up to 49, and I'm happy also to announce that we have also concluded the autopsies or the postmortems of those 49 bodies. Our health team has been working late yesterday and started the early hours of this morning at 4. They've concluded now. Families are there for viewing, and we also arranged the psychosocial support services. The post-viewing counseling. Our teams are there to make sure that we're taking care of families. So once again, we would want to take the opportunity to convey our heartfelt condolences to all the families, schools, and kids that surely are also attending, are also getting the counseling services as well with this kind of a traumatic situation of their colleagues, if I may put it like that. So, we are expecting more as the rescue teams are actually unraveling some bodies. At least for now, we can still account for 49. There are also other homes that have collapsed, so we need to remove those rubbles in order to see what's going on underneath those rubbles. So far, we are just rolling up our sleeves, all hands on the deck to assist all what we can, but also communities have been all out and supporting. They are able also to identify each other. Is there any person missing? So we are also working with that kind of an intelligence. We're deploying all our services, the artificial intelligence, drones, and everybody that any kind of intervention we can have. They are all on the ground now to assist, also to be able to consolidate a report for assessment, to understand how many homes that have been damaged, so that as we package sort of intervention as government, we are able to be more agile and we don't rely on the manual. The area is a bit stretchy, it's a bit longer, where the stream was moving, so it's not an easy situation of walking distance that you can walk across and do ABCD easily. So we are basically getting everything that we have and support that we are so receiving. It's quite amazing as well.
Okay, so how do we get ready for something similar like this, where we get these devastating floods? Premier, you've indicated that this is a disaster-prone province, but when you look at the resources that are required, it looks like there's a critical shortage of those resources, and that can compromise then the emergency response capabilities. Has the province always had capacitated emergency response?
Not really. We do have systems in place and capacity to a certain extent, but as of yesterday, or a day before yesterday, I've realized as a premier that the sort of silo mentality that the government to people like it doesn't help. I think we are one government, we're a unitary government. We might be having national, provincial, and local, but we're one government. We should start internalizing that we must build a system and institutionalize them. We don't build system around individuals, because when those individuals are not there, systems collapse. So we've got to institutionalize system, but also we have got to appreciate nationally that Eastern Cape and KZN are really a threat, are really disaster-prone provinces. And now it's no longer a question of summer or so, including the Western Cape. Almost all the coastal provinces are really disaster-prone provinces are exposed to this. The capacity government needs to prepare itself to the table, because it's clear now that we must anticipate this and also have a robust kind of social facilitation or awareness programs for our people. When people are watching news on TV, they must know that you don't just watch news and when it's going to be a turn of the weather services, you stand up and do something else, because no one has ever bothered about looking at that much on weather, especially here in our areas. So it's important now that we run a proper campaign to sensitize our people, but also the challenge of our people who sometimes, in rural areas, you get a plot simply because you have gone to a traditional leader and no proper rezoning is done. Environmental assessment is done, etc. When the municipality comes to say, but no, you are building or constructing below a flood line, you can't do this. And someone says, I've been here for more than 50 years or 60, I've never seen what you're talking about. So it's that kind of attitude that needed to be changed, so that our people are able to realize that we are living in a total different world, in a total different planet Earth. Things are changing and they are quite dangerous to our people. It's not a question of refusing the access to land parcel. It's a question of being cautious to protect the lives of people so that experiences like these are not experienced again. But I think it's a learning curve. We're learning on all these challenges as we go. But it's important that we improve. We've got a solid integrated plan, which has got nothing to do about municipalities. It's not a blame game issue now. Whether it's municipality, this or that, it's us as government, and as government, we should be having a clear, solid, integrated plan to actually prevent the disastrous effects of this. We will not continue having or experiencing this kind of repercussions out of disasters if we are able to be quite much more proactive.
Yeah, and just lastly, what about the state of infrastructure? I mean, could the state of infrastructure also be the reason for the extent of this devastation? Because we are going to experience more extreme weather events to come, and the rebuilding process, the rebuilding of that infrastructure needs to be resilient to such climate risks. So future constructions must have extreme weather events in mind. What's your plan around that?
As I say that we need to do more in terms of sensitizing, especially the people in peri-urban and in rural areas. Remember, it's only in the urban areas where everything is regulated. Even how you build a house, you must get an approval from the municipality. What material are you using? Is the environmental situation allowing that you can do something like that? In rural areas, you just get a piece of land from a traditional leader, you build your house the way that you want. So, I mean, things like those. The infrastructure issue, it will forever be a challenge in the rural environment. Yes, we are working hard on that. That's why we have got a problem of the road maintenance. Because with this problem of climate change, with all this inclement weather that we are actually witnessing, you build a road, rural access road this year, early. By December, when the rainfall season comes with floods, the whole road that you built is wiped out. That's a question of us now working on alternative technologies. What kind of material must we be using in order to construct an access road, bridges, etc.? The bridge that has been wiped out with kids, it is on R51. It's a national road. It's a road that is now under Sandral. It's a road that is being worked from Beaufort West up into Bizana, a solid infrastructure that is being worked on. Yet in that particular stretch, Clement, it's also very much unfortunate. We have been sitting with designs and plans over the last 10 years. The road that connects from Tata Airport to Tata City, that road should have been dualed now. That is almost 4 lanes. Going the direction, 2 lanes, the other direction, 2 lanes. But we can't move because people in that area, they were never properly settled there as a human settlement arrangement. They settled themselves. They've built closer to the road, on top of the road. So Sandral can't move, even with those plans. They've been having budget to deal with that issue. So these are issues that we've got to strengthen our bylaws as municipalities. At least the no becomes no. I know when municipalities are acting against the residents and people react as if government has got no sympathy, has got no the heartless government and all that. Sometimes we must act firmly to protect things like this.
Premier Oscar Mabuyane, thank you so much for making time. He is the Premier of the Eastern Cape Province, talking to us about this devastation that's befallen that province. 49 people, as you heard from him. They're expecting more people to be found. There are some that are still missing. But I really want us to also focus our attention on the issue of infrastructure. And maybe you've got some ideas. Maybe you are from the Eastern Cape, or you have been to the Eastern Cape and you've seen the kind of infrastructure there. I mean, I remember even with the floods in KwaZulu-Natal. Remember the floods in KZN when we lost about, 435 or so people? There were over 6,000 people that became homeless. They were displaced. There were 54 missing at the time. The cost to rebuild that infrastructure ran into billions. And the conversation that we had on the show, even with experts, was how do we get our infrastructure to be fit to withstand disasters like this? Because when you look at bridges, When you look at some of the roads, some of the drainage systems, and it's more devastating in rural areas. Can you imagine how worse it probably is in a province like the Eastern Cape? It's 21 minutes after 11.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
So on the 15th of August, South Africa will gather for what is being called a national dialogue to set the agenda for a national dialogue that will, quote, chart a way for the country and drive progress towards Vision 23.
We've had too many talk shops about investment or about this. No. What we need are some hard choices. When we're sitting with 15 to 16 years of stagnant growth, growing poverty, growing unemployment, and we're not really getting anywhere.
Anne Bernstein, head of the Centre for Development and Enterprise.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Get ready, South Africa. The 129th Hollywood Bets Durban July gallops into Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse on Saturday, 5th July. It's more than a race. It's the heartbeat of Mzansi. This year's theme, Marvels of Mzansi, celebrates our rich culture, vibrant heritage, and breathtaking beauty. From thrilling horse racing to show-stopping fashion and powerful performances by Zolani Mahola, Lira, Mafigi Zolo, and more. Feel the pulse of a nation in celebration. Tickets are flying fast. Secure yours now at Ticket Pro. The Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you, and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
The time to honor our past and step into a shared future as a team is here. Corporate hospitality and team entries for this year's 702 Walk the Talk are still open. Gather your colleagues together on Sunday, the 27th of July, to walk through the historic Freedom Park Heritage Site, past the national landmarks, and finish at the Union Buildings. To book hospitality, email hospitality@raceoffice.co.za. For corporate entries, visit primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park Heritage Site in the city of Tshwane, where footsteps become footprints.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
24 minutes after 11 o'clock, the Thursday Dialogue today is focusing on the devastation in the Eastern Cape. There are over 50 people now, we're told, that have died. I see on my screens here the death toll has now risen to 57 in the Eastern Cape from the floods that were experienced since Monday. Our reporter Mongezi Koko has been on the ground this week, chatting particularly to some of the families that have been affected. Mongezi, thank you for also coming through to chat to us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thank you so much for having me.
What have you observed the minute you arrived there? From your vantage point, how devastating is the situation there?
Look, Clement, upon arrival, we arrived on Tuesday, is when we went straight in with search and rescue teams who conducted an operation around the Kukriha River, which spans on Mthatha West. And this is where we saw the search and rescue operators being joined by families. And we managed to speak to two mothers who were looking for their children. Now, you will remember that of those children who went missing, there was a 22 scholar transport vehicle which veered off. It was swept away by some water on that bridge on the R61. And unfortunately, Clement, for the family members, they did go through the very tedious process of having to identify their children on the ground and having seen the divers pull out their children. So it was really a tragic scene, one filled with devastation. Now, Clement, as the day progressed, particularly yesterday, is when we saw the emergency service personnel driving out, or rather coming out with around about a body at an hour. So it was moving at such a fast and sad pace that you saw people crying, you saw people trying to manage the terrain, which has been also affected by the flooding and the inclement weather, where we saw a lot of mud and people tripping, a lot of people crying. It was really just a tragic sight to see. Now, Clement, I also want to touch on some of the measures that have been put in place. So most of the people who have been displaced, I mean, the figure that we received yesterday from the Eastern Cape Provincial Department, or rather provincial government, was that there was over 500 families displaced, and we'd see them in halls, in schools, and in municipal buildings. And this is where we got the opportunity to chat to them. And really what is being said is that it happened so quickly. Albeit the flooding began on Tuesday in the morning, the real ramification and issues then came about yesterday, where people realized that their loved ones were missing, where they realized that their homes had been completely destroyed, they'd lost all sort of documents. So it was a situation where they say that rebuilding is going to prove more difficult than anything else. And I mean, the mother who eventually found her son, I think she began the search at 5 a.m. and they came across her son at around about 4 p.m., a 14-year-old. What she says is that the family had already accepted that the child may have been deceased. The only issue that they had was that they wanted to find the son, be able to go through a process of burying their child. So it was really, really a sad scene. And I'm just going to close off with this one, where a young mother who had recently bought a plot of land in this area, just alongside the Kukha River, she says that she has a 2-year-old and had to carry the child on her back, had to dive into the water, try and find her key, try and unlock her butler and get out and swim out. So it's a lot of issues. The family that we also spoke to had to break their roof, sit on top and pull each other out and just try and wait it out because of how intense the water was flowing.
Sure, yeah. It's really just heartbreaking, Mongezi, hearing you just even describe how sad the situation is there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Mongezi Koko is our reporter with Eyewitness News. He's on the ground in the Eastern Cape, reporting for us the latest from these floods that have cost now claimed 57 lives, and we are told more people are expected to be announced dead because there are many that are still missing. Lubabalo, you're calling us from Guguletu. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Hi, Clement. I'm going to be straight to the point.
Yeah.
Clement, Oscar has been the premier of the Eastern Cape for about 7 years now. And before that, he's occupied provincial legislation's role. He's always been a senior in the Eastern Cape. Now, I have to say this, with Oscar as the premier of the Eastern Cape, that province will never see its full potential. We just listened to him now talking to you, Clement, and then one thing I took out was that he did not provide no solutions for now, and he has no solutions for the future. Now, in the Eastern Cape, there's vast amounts of land throughout the Eastern Cape. The reason why people build and live closer to town in those shallow areas is because of the lack of infrastructure in the whole province. For example, Clement, I'll give you this. When my mother-in-law is not well, in fact, she lives in Gua, in Butterworth, we bring her to Cape Town for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. By the time she leaves Cape Town, she's 100%. And people are always amazed when she goes back feeling much better. So you see, the infrastructure issues in the Eastern Cape are causing people to live in those places which is closer to town. And Oscar saying that he's blaming global warming. I mean, this guy is, it's ridiculous that we have a leader who has no solutions for the issues that happen year after year. And it's across the board, Clement. It's across the board.
Yeah, Lubabalo, I feel your frustration. And I think you're raising important things. The reason we're seeing the extent of this devastation is not just because of climate change. Oscar Mabuyane himself says this is a disaster-prone province. So if it is, then what measures have been put in place to ensure that should a disaster strike, then there are processes in place. We've got functioning emergency response teams. right? How have they improved disaster management, their disaster management strategies? Have they prioritized proper drainage infrastructure? Have they refurbished the bridges? So you're right, there's a lot to hold these leaders accountable for. And it's just so devastating that these things happen, and then that's when they wake up to the reality that we can't just talk about disaster-prone provinces and how bad things are. We need to plan for them and invest money in ensuring that these provinces are able to withstand these disasters. It's 11:32. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. More of your calls and WhatsApps as we continue this Thursday dialogue focusing on the impact of the floods in the Eastern Cape. And again, I want us to talk more about how we avoid a situation where there's going to be an extensive devastation when these disasters strike. Can we talk about our infrastructure? Can we talk about our emergency response frameworks? Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. The death toll linked to inclement weather in the Eastern Cape has risen to 57. This comes as search and rescue efforts continue in Mthatha, which has been the hardest hit by the heavy rain and flooding. Basic Education Minister Simphiwe Dana has described the deaths of learners in a major flood incident as a tragedy. Dana is in the province visiting the families of learners whose scholar transport was swept away by a strong current. The two men suspected of killing former IFP Member of Parliament Petrus Sithole have abandoned their bail applications. Ketuktula Sithole and Nontando Ximba made a brief appearance in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court in Ekurhuleni today. They are charged with murder, attempted murder and the possession of unlicensed firearms as well as ammunition. And an Air India aircraft with 242 passengers on board has crashed in Gujarat while on its way to London. Several people are feared dead after the aircraft burst into flames. Rescue teams have arrived on the scene of the crash with firefighters looking to extinguish the blaze. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Sandton heading towards the Joburg CBD, there's an accident scene in the Melrose area. That's on the M1 southbound approaching Killarney Bains, causing heavy delays all the way from Athol, Oakland. There's also slow-moving traffic that's heading into the Joburg CBD coming from Rivoli on the M2 westbound Main Reef Road. That's from Nasrec Road all the way to Anderson Street. If you are in the Roodepoort area heading towards Leratong, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on Randfontein Road between Corlett and Adcock Road due to an earlier accident. We still have slow-moving traffic in the Alberton area heading towards Vereeniging R59 southbound between the N12 Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Santam, Fair Lady and True Love are looking for you. Entries for the Santam Women of the Future Awards close this Friday, the 13th of June, with 3 categories, including Women of the Future, Rising Star, and Social Entrepreneur. This is more than a trophy. Winners share prizes worth 853,000 Rand, including 275,000 Rand in cash, mentorship, national publicity, and incredible networking opportunities. If you're a businesswoman building a brighter future or making a difference in your community, this is your time to shine. Enter now at womenofthefuture.co.za.
A bowl of cereal, a glass of orange juice, some flavored yogurt for breakfast. Ultra-processed products such as these may be high in sugar, salt, or saturated fat. Having too much of these products could lead to diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease. Our health is in danger. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Now, sign the petition on heala.org. HEALA.org.
Hey, Paul, what's the rush?
I'm off to SARS. I want to check if I'll be auto-assessed.
No need. If you're auto-assessed, SARS will send you a notice between 7 and 20 July.
So I just wait for the notice?
Exactly. If you get the notice, check it. And if you agree, you're done. Disagree? File using e-filing or the SARS Mobi app. If you don't get the notice, file from 21 July. Make tax matters your priority. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
Every small business owner knows that you got to dream big to achieve even bigger. And Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 understands that it takes guts and determination to show up for your customers and expand your business and your bottom line. That's why we're looking for all the SMEs of Gauteng that dare to reinvent, expand, and shake things up. You could win 200,000 Rand in cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package to help you chase your small business dream. So if you're a small business that dares to disrupt the industry, enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za for Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice,
Your questions.
your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
23 minutes before 12 o'clock, as we're going to continue our conversation about what's happening in the Eastern Cape in a moment. But first, let's find out what's coming up on 702 Afternoons with Jonathan Kabazela in for Relebogile today. How are you doing, Jono?
Yeah, Clem, I'm good, thank you.
What's popping today?
So, I mean, growing up, taking you back, did you grow up in a household where your parents were affectionate with each other?
No.
Never?
I have never seen my mom and dad even steal a kiss.
I know, right?
I've seen, I think once or twice, I saw my dad tickled my mom.
Yeah, but
I
it's
was
not
like,
common
and it was
thing.
so awkward because I hated it. I was like, what are you doing? Because we're not used to that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, now growing up, and then if you have a family one day and you got kids, do you think you would be affectionate?
I am not an affectionate person.
Not at all.
So
yeah.
if I'm in a relationship with you, you'll probably hear I love you once.
So your
every
love
6 months.
language is
on your
definitely not
birthday.
touch.
Yeah, it's not. But I try to, if I'm with someone who appreciates that, I try to get out of my comfort zone to do that because you want to try and love people how they want to be loved.
Yes.
So, but I'm definitely not affectionate.
Not the affectionate.
You know what
guy.
I do quickly? On Mother's Day, you know when I send my mom a message, I will send a message and then at the end, I say much love.
Wow. Very official.
Yeah,
Much love.
I don't remember the last time I even said I love you. So my brother sometimes or my friends would take my phone and just say, "Hey man, let me type it for you."
Yeah.
And to send, it's so awkward. I'm like, why? And I love my mom, of course, more than
course you
anything.
do. Yeah.
But it's just, we need to learn that. And I'm trying to get to a stage where I'm learning to be more affectionate and not be ashamed of, I love you.
Yeah. Or giving a big hug or whatever it may be. So
Ooh, hugs are the worst.
in the open line, we're going to be chatting about that in terms of, if you have children, why are we not affectionate with each other in front of our children? And then how that may affect relationships going into your adult years. Then after the 1:30 news, there's the feature every Thursday called Belief Matters, which I really love because we learn about different cultures and views. And today we're going to be chatting about organ donation and sperm and egg donation and why this remains taboo in certain cultures. And then, as always, on a Thursday after 2 o'clock, it's the consumer ninja, Wendy Nola. She'll be joining us to talk about some consumer issues. And of course, we'll have an open line towards the end where if you've got something that you've been battling with and have tried to sort out with no luck, you can chat to Wendy and we'll see what she can do.
All right, that's what's coming up on 702 Afternoons with Jonathan Kabazela between 1 and 3 p.m.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
20 minutes before 12 on our Thursday Dialogue this morning, we are looking at this devastation in the Eastern Cape, the floods that have claimed now the lives of 57 people now. The death toll in the Eastern Cape has risen to 57. And as you heard the Premier earlier speak to us, they're expecting more. I'm asking, how do we avoid this kind of extent of the devastation? Because disasters are going to strike. People will lose their lives, unfortunately. Some people will go missing. But there's something we can do. Government can do something to prepare for the worst, especially when you know your area, your province is disaster prone. I'm taking your calls on 011-883-0702. Mli Mandlela Mdamase is calling us from Johannesburg. Mli, how are you doing?
Morning, Clement. I'm well, thank you, and I trust you are well too.
Sure.
You know, Clement, I come from that area. I'm born and bred and have lived in that area for the longest time. And I fully agree with you. The Premier may be correct to say we are a disaster-prone province, but I think it's also important to note that disasters are not the same. So different areas are prone to different disasters. And I think we must empathize with the Premier and the province, because this particular disaster that confronts them now, which is a flood, is a disaster that has not occurred in the last 30 years or plus that I've at least been alive and of sober and thinking mind. I can never recall this kind of disaster occurring in that area. So it would tell you that it is not a disaster even with warnings that I think a municipality or the disaster management agencies would have been able to plan adequately for. So on the one end, and I think the important point I just wanted to make, Clement, is that I think there's a greater social dialogue and social cooperation that we need to build between the state and communities. Those areas that are affected, if one looks closely at them, are areas which mushroomed as a result of land invasions, where there was an absence of proper, adequate, and compliance with laws that apply to those kind of buildings. But secondly, the absence of the state and its inefficiency in enforcing the law to prevent people from building in those areas. And unfortunately, when government intervenes at times and it wants to demolish houses which have been built illegally on land that is not suitable for this kind of development, it is again society which comes up strongly and labels government as insensitive.
Yeah.
And when disasters as this struck and people lose their lives and their belongings, again, government is blamed for not being able to plan adequately or to cater for these kind of disasters. And I think there's a conversation we must have, because I do not believe this is the last. And for as long as we are unable to control and plan our towns properly, control and enforce our bylaws, direct people to adequate and safe areas where they should build, we will continue to have a recurrence of these kind of occurrences. And until we can have that social cooperation and dialogue and engagement that takes us forward, perhaps that is when we'll be able to resolve and preserve life for our people. But for what has happened in Umtata, I can safely tell you, I do not anticipate, even if I was Premier tomorrow, which would never happen, it is not a disaster that I think we could have adequately planned for based on what the experience in that area has been in terms of disasters of this nature.
Yeah, and if recent history is anything to go by, we are going to experience more and more extreme weather events like this that will be devastating. So the sooner these governments really take seriously just the necessary planning processes, the better. Mlimadlela, thank you so much for speaking to us and for bringing in also that experience as someone who comes from the Eastern Cape and knows those areas that have been so affected. It's 14 minutes now before 12.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
Let's bring in now Professor Hangwelani Makidimisha Chipungu, who is a professor in the Department of Town and Regional Planning at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Prof, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Clement, and to all your listeners.
So we've been talking about how we need to prepare for more extreme weather events like these ones. And yes, as Mlimandlela, the call we took now, you wonder sometimes if it's even possible to plan for some of these disasters that strike. But I think we can plan to at least minimize the extent of the devastation. So I want us to start off maybe with, what are some of the circumstances that allows for floods to be so devastating? What's not being done right?
Thank you so much, Clement, for your question. It's quite clear that issues around climate change are here to stay, and we have seen in KZN, we have seen now in Eastern Cape, and even more parts of the country, we're still going to experience the same. But we may not be able to prevent the weather itself, but we may be able to prevent the impact of the extreme weather events that we have. And I think that's what we need to put our effort on. And I don't think as a country irrespective of which province in this country, there's a province which will come forward confidently. They say that we are ready to bring any kind of disaster, we know what to do. And I think we're not investing resources enough on the preventative measures of to make sure that when disaster finds us, at least let's be ready. Let's not lose many lives. Let's make sure that we save people's lives. And that is not what is happening.
Yeah.
But what we've become more of a reactionary state.
Yeah.
And always getting very confused. What do we do? Who do we talk to? But by now we should at least know that this is the problem. If you look at the area in the Western Cape, in the Eastern Cape that we are talking about, the area is experiencing what I call pirate urbanization, where I think the previous caller mentioned that where people they're just building everywhere. But that is the role of a planner. And we have something what we call development control. Why do you allow that to happen? If you know there's an issue, that's why we have regulations which speaks to those issues. So we need to enforce our bylaws, but also if you look at the area that we're talking about, the ecolini to be specific, they call it decolini. Yeah, I hope I'm saying correctly. If you look at it, you will see that it's relatively flat, right? Now, it's from an urban design perspective. Planning drainage system for an area like that is very expensive. One would think because it's flat it's easy, but it's not easy because you want drainage to be in a certain slope. So we're looking at a slope of about 100 gradient. So it become very difficult to plan. And the river is not very far, and the bridge was not high enough. Then how do you then allow people to stay in an environment like that? So we have to enforce our bylaw. And it's correct that it's very difficult perhaps to think about these issues when nothing is happening. But the approach that we should take as a country now is that we are at the phase where every piece of land, every region, rural, urban, needs to be planned for. But we need to have what we call rural planning, where we are risk-informed in our planning, in our urban design, in our planning. And that's not what's happening. People are allocating land willingly and staying everywhere, and that is really a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about bridges that some of which are not high enough, and you wonder, because sometimes these tenders go out and people are not efficient enough to be building that kind of infrastructure, and that's when you've got consequences like this, where your bridges were just not fit for even the particular areas where they were installed. What do we, in terms of investment, Prof, what is your advice to government? Because I find that that's what we're going to talk about now, and it's happened before, even with KwaZulu-Natal and other places. We always, as you say, reactionary. And then when disaster strikes, and there are so many people who lose their lives, who get displaced, and then government takes seriously the necessary efforts that it should have taken to avoid the extent of the devastation. But then 2 years later, you see that there's still no investment in proper drainage infrastructure, in building proper bridges, especially in these areas that are prone to disasters. So how serious is it that government needs to start putting the money where their mouth is? Because that infrastructure needs to be upgraded. You need to build it. That's going to take investment, but more so intention.
Yeah. You know, you're raising a very important issue, Clement, because whether we like it or not, if we don't do anything, we are almost certain that we are still going to lose more lives in South Africa, across the country. And it's not just Eastern Cape, it's everywhere in South Africa. We are just not ready. We are unready state as it relates to climate or extreme weather events. So how serious is this? This is serious. Even agent, we should have been doing this as in like yesterday. We need to start investing on the drainage system that work. We need to start to do things like river channelization. If you look at the river there in Dikolini, it's a very shallow, up to on the surface river. If you look at that river, even in a big map, you may even miss it because it's that small. At the bottom line, this tells us that every piece of land needs to be planned for, and we need to start working on our drainage system. And the drainage system that we need to work with, it has to be at 3 levels, or if not 2 levels. One, We are looking at collecting of water from roads, obviously, to make sure that you dispose it into the drainage system. But also the part we don't talk about a lot, and this is where the community comes in, and I think the pre-affairs scholar, when talking about the collaboration with communities, this is where community comes in. Our people, our communities need to be taught. If you are having building a house, you cannot have a house which does not have a gutter and where you don't channel the water. If you leave your house like that, where do you think that water is going? That's the first thing, because that has a negative impact into our environment. So you leave your water like that, there's no drainage system, it's an issue. The other issue is, of course, what I've mentioned in terms of what the government needs to do. But the people themselves, how they relate with their space. You see, it's very fashionable in some quarters within the country where you have to pave everywhere in your house. You don't want to see grass, you don't want to see any permeable surfaces. That has a contribution. It's contributed towards the speed and the gravity at which water will move from your house to the next one. And imagine if you have hundreds. I understand there are about 300 households or so, I think. You have 300 households who paved the house where every water gets into their stand is rushing to where exactly? You have no drainage system. Your gravity of the slope is sitting at about 100. You are in trouble already.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of education needed to the communities as well.
Absolutely. Professor Hangweni Makitimisha Chipungu, thank you for speaking to us. He's a professor in the Department of Town and Regional Planning at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. 7 minutes before 12.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
This is Kolela from Bedford View. I love 702 because its family keeps me entertained and informed all the time, and they do walk the talk.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Get ready for the 26th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. 3 memorable days from the 26th to the 28th of September across 4 spectacular stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Join over 50 incredible world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, the Baylor Project, Andile Yenana, Meshal Ndenji-Oshelo, Trezo, Jose James, Mo Sangare, Jasmine Ahon, Gabi Mutuba, Benjamin Jafta, Nomfundo Tlaluva, Mondli Ngobo, Lakishia Benjamin, Alune Wade, and others on a musical journey deep into the heart and art of jazz. Take me there. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster now.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3247. My financial advisor asked if I was expecting any inheritance. I said, I don't have a trust fund, but I trust that funds will find their way to my bank account. He was not amused.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Girls and Boys Town isn't just a children's home. It's where broken childhoods find a second chance. Tomorrow on 702 Drive with John Perlman will shine a light on the work of Girls and Boys Town, South Africa, to find out what it takes to create a place of deep healing, structure, and love for children in need. This meaningful discussion is brought to you by the Discam Foundation. Remember, when you swipe your Discam or Baby City benefit card, you help support life-changing initiatives like Girls and Boys Towns. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
5 minutes before 12 o'clock, we're wrapping up our discussion about the devastation in the Eastern Cape with the Minister of Basic Education, Simphiwe Dana, who's joining us on the line. Minister, thanks for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
So how affected are the schools there? The last I saw, there 6,000 learners had been impacted. There were about 58 schools that have been damaged. From your assessment so far, how bad is it?
Look, I think firstly, Clement, this community is reeling from the tragedy and the loss here. About 57 people have been confirmed as deceased. We know that there are 6 children from the bus accident that took place that have been declared as deceased. 4 are still missing. And I've received, as of this morning, a confirmation of a further 2 learners in different areas of this district that have also been deceased. I've just been to visit the parents of the children who are either missing or have been confirmed as having died. And I just think that just the human devastation alone is it's heartbreaking. And we're going to do everything in our power to support these families, to support the burial of these children. And of course, we're not going to give up until we find these learners. In terms of the infrastructure damage, I am joining Minister of Kokta now at 1 o'clock for a briefing on the JOC. And once they give us a sense of the declaration or the classification of the disaster, it then gives us an indication of how much resources are we able to access from a disaster management point of view. And it is through those funds that we'll be able to quickly move with pace to go and at least repair some of the schools so that things like June exams can start to take place. Because, of course, as you know, the school calendar is tightly managed and we don't want any children falling behind much more than they should.
And then any contingency measures as of, let's say, next week? What are you looking at so that because there are some kids as well that we're relying on, I think, scholar transport. There are areas that are the infrastructure is damaged, so accessibility is an issue. What are you looking at in terms of contingency measures?
Look, the disaster management teams are saying that they are quite, firstly, they are relieved that the weather has improved. So it stopped raining, so they're able to quickly clear the rubble and the pathways. This particular thing, I think less about the damaging of the roads. I mean, this incident took place because the driver completely estimated the power of the water on that bridge and just how deep it was. And so the bridge in itself wasn't broken, but I think so from human error, he entered the bridge, and then that, of course, then swept away the car. So we are able to then reallocate learners in surrounding schools, those whose schools have been severely damaged. But in the Mthatha region alone, we're looking at about 7 schools. Some of them are not completely devastated, so we're able to move operations. But of course, our main priority is to make sure that our matric learners are able to write these exams at the end of June, postponed some of the exams towards the end of the month. And DBE is staying with all of those.
All right. Simphiwe Dana, thank you for making time. She's the Minister of Basic Education.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. Victory demands everything, but the journey is never solo. My team carves the way, data and innovation are my compass. This is how today's champions are made.
Drive your success and trade like a champion. CFI, a global leading broker now in South Africa. Access over 15,000 instruments, advanced trading tools, 24/7 support, and superior trading services. Visit cfi.trade today. CFI Financial is an authorized financial services provider.
CFI, empower yourself.
When the road says, hey, let's go for a ride, what do? Do you let the moment of exploration pass you by? Or do you take to the tarmac like there's no tomorrow? If you're a Jetour driver, you do. And if not, well, you can. By getting into a bold new Jetour dashing from 4,999 per month or an adventurous Jetour X70 Plus from 5,199 per month. Book a test drive at jetour.coza. T's and C's apply. Jetour. Drive your future.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
CEO at Capitec, Terry Fourie, he suggests we should include people who work in the informal sector in the category of employed.
We see a lot more activity in the informal economy, specifically the township economy, across all sectors that is driving economic behavior. And we think that if that's properly understood, then collectively we can work together as to say how to enable those industries to grow further.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the Africa Energy Forum 2025. Your story matters. ABSA registered FSP.
All right, coming up next is the Midday Report with Mandy Winner. My time is up, so thank you for listening to us, the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back tomorrow for the Friday installment. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The death toll linked to inclement weather conditions in the Eastern Cape has risen to 57. This comes as